properly apologize for that little snafu, my friend. With your first movie, Gamera vs. Virus. Your first Gamera movie in some time. And, as I understand it, not your last. Enjoy it. It's a weirdie.
In the not-too-distant future, somewhere in cyberspace, our crew on the satellite of love is caught in a scary place. Way down below, a crimson weirdo lurks, an evil creep who wants to prove his worth. To get to the top, he has a hill to climb. He'll have to finish the experiment his mentor left behind. I'll send him cheesy movies, the worst that I can find. He'll have to sit and watch them all, and I'll monitor his mind. Now keep in mind, Helmet can't control where the movies begin or end. He'll try to keep his sanity with the help of his robot friends.
Robot roll call, come on, the birdie.
I'm not in there.
Tom Servo, I'm you.
Oh, Mikey.
If you're wondering when this all takes place and other timeline facts, then repeat to yourself, it's just a show. I should really just relax. For Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay, so we're live streaming right now. It looks like everything's going good on my end. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an impromptu live stream. It was originally supposed to happen on Brayton's channel, but he was having trouble on his end, and since I have a little more experience, slightly little more experience with live streaming through OBS, we are doing it on my channel. So if you can, I'm going to get Brayton here in a moment.
I'm here.
Ah, he's here.
I've always been here.
We're all here. So yeah, everything's going good. So yeah, welcome to the Black Friday live stream with Enshohma and BranzantFiLMS.
Pomp and circumstance.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. We already had an opening theme song. That was from Helmet and the Helmets, who have nothing to do with Brayton whatsoever. Isn't that right, Brayton? That was a completely separate character.
Yeah, absolutely. I have many characters, much like you, Raf. They're invading my personal space and my personal life.
I know. That damn dirty McCorruption. How dare he? He's sleeping in the next room, but you won't hear anything from him whatsoever. So... looks like there's only one person watching right now, and that appears to be you.
Yay! Hi, me. How's it going?
Going good.
Told you I had many personalities, Raf.
Yes.
You're a quick learner with this OBS thing. You've been streaming on that Google Hangouts for a long time, and then when that got kaputted out of existence, you picked OBS right up, and you had the little Halloween smash-a-rooney last October.
Yeah, that actually went a lot better. Well, other than the half an hour
Technically,
wait.
it went a lot better.
Yeah, it did go very better. And even knowing I wish I knew how this the slideshow feature on this OBS worked, I don't mind going between each and every image individually and just starting them up on my own. And I have at least a couple, like 10 Gamera versus Jiger images we can switch through, although if I add more later, you'll know why. So... Okay, so since this was originally going to be on your channel, how about you introduce the audience to what's going on here?
What's going on here? Not a whole lot. I just wanted to. I wanted to have an impromptu OBS stream on my channel, and it looked like I had done a little research on how to get one up and running last night, and I had done a test, and it turned out not great. But Then I tried another test right before we got on here, and it turned out fine. Mm-hmm. But when I tried going public, like live with it to the public, I kept getting this message of, oh God, what was it? Not receiving enough data or something like that, and it might cause buffering. And that kind of just, I think especially me being such a newbie to it, and with the weather currently not being ideal, I don't think I really want to run the aggravational test and chance of just having to futz with it all night if anybody shows up. So we're here with Raf, the professional, the the experienced one.
Yes, professional with gigantic quotation marks popping out of the side of my head.
You're a professional in everything, Raf. You're a perfectionist, and when it comes to live streaming, you know what you're doing.
I zipped my own zipper today. Yay!
Good job, Raf.
Bazaar!
You get a YouTube golden red star.
Yay, put it on my
play
eyelid.
Star.
Ouch!
Probably not the best place for it.
Right. Oh, the red stuff's coming out of my eye.
So yeah, that didn't work out all that well. Raf complained about his eye a lot, and now we're here, and we're in pain. But we're here. We're here to talk about a variety of things. Fresh on the mind is Jiger, I suppose.
Yes, the recent Mystery Science Theater fan series. You're more or less going to be the master of ceremonies tonight, because that's what the original plan was. But go ahead and introduce it, and of course I'll be happy to share thoughts and whatnot. So,
well, yes, episode 2 of our little labor of love series, Mystery MST3K versus Gamera Round 2, came out. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago? How long ago was that? Last week?
Yeah,
I don't even remember, and I
week.
posted it. Something like that.
Yeah, November 20th, I think. November 23rd.
There you go. So sometime in the not too distant past, it was posted. And yes, that episode featured the educational short on our friends the robots called Leave It to Rolo, and the second unriffed Gamera, what do you want to call it? Cinematic outing, Gamera versus Jiger.
Yes.
And I gotta say, I'm not reeling from it too terribly as much as I was with Gamera versus Virus. I watched it probably about the same amount of times. I spent roughly the same amount of work time on it. More with Jiger probably, because the work time on it was spread out over a long time of post production, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Jiger was a shining bright spot. And you talk about a bump in the road. This was the opposite of a bump in the road. This was like, oh, we're starting out with a crappy movie. Hey, here's a little high spot, and then we take a big dip with the final upcoming, forthcoming Gamera movie.
Yeah,
but,
I know you guys have kind of underplayed my hatred and loathing for Super Monster Gamera, or Gamera the
only
Super
because
Monster.
you've overplayed it. That's all. We're trying to balance things out, trying to reach an equilibrium.
Yeah, but it honestly, I do think it is definitely one of the not one of, if not the worst Gamera, if not one of the worst giant monster movies ever made. And it's to me, Gamera Super Monster is the equivalent of On the Trail to the Pink Panther. Everything our lead hero is more or less dead. You can't afford to do another movie, except you make this bizarre clip show strung along this very weak narrative to do the clip show.
Yeah. And
it's even sadder considering like the we'll get to Super Monster later, but
I'm picturing a Game of Death version with a Gamera and being played by like you got stock footage and really bad faking like Gameras. You got a Gamera impersonator pretending to be a Gamera there, and like the last surviving footage of Gamera reeled in. Yeah, it's a splice job, that movie.
Yeah, it is definitely, and not only that, but even if you didn't know the circumstance behind the movie's existence, it's pretty much there on the screen. It's a cheap con job just to get more money for Dai. So it's like I wish we knew a complete history of what was going on with Gamera Super Monster. I know August Ragon has briefly touched upon it with his little Shout Factory Gamera marathon videos. But for the most part, it just feels like Dai was desperate to make a quick buck towards the end of the 80s. Early 80s, actually. They gathered the old crew, but on such a low budget, they could barely do anything other than a overly expensive Gamera prop and a Star Wars ripoff spaceship, a bare-bones plot about super women, which would be interesting if it was better written and better handled, but unfortunately this is children's Gamera film, so no. And
AKA, who gives a crap?
Exactly. So it's like, I don't know, there are like so many movies in the past that have tried to revive ended franchises and have done them poorly, like Zorro the Gay Blade. I know was a really crappy attempt to try to bring back Zorro for late 70s audiences. Disney before, oh god, what's a good example of like a bad animated Disney movie? I don't know. Oh, no, better yet, Warner Brothers, instead of making brand new Looney Tune cartoons, they just made those compilation movies, like, Looney Tune Fantasy Island or whatever it's called, or Quackbusters. And even though when there was new animation between, it just felt kind of like sad, like, it's the retired cartoon characters replaying their reruns. But with Super Monster Gamera, it's even more nakedly sad. But
I was just shocked because I had watched it for the first time not terribly long ago, and I was shocked. I knew that they had reused like the past fight scenes and strung those in there, but they not only did they reuse that, they scrounged every available footage of Gamera they had in their library. It seems like because there'd be these weird jump cuts. Like in one fight, Gamera's jumping in the air, and there'll be like a sharp close-up from Gamera versus Giron, where suddenly his head is in outer space, and then it cuts back to the fight scene.
Yeah, or it's like not as extreme as what you just said, but I definitely know there's a scene where Gamera is fighting in the middle of the city, he gets punched, and all of a sudden he's in the middle of the woodland lake.
It's odd.
So they didn't even bother well with the stock footage, and it's like, I don't know. It's like, at least, like, if I was making that movie, I would have at least found some way to make it more exciting. Maybe make it like a little bit of a documentary with a bit of a narrative thrown in, like a docudrama. Because I know there was great success with a documentary about the making of the Looney Tunes and the infamous Termite Terrace, where the films were made. Back in the 80s, which had a lot of footage of the animators and photos and interviews and all that. I think they could have done something similar. But then again, the giant monster genre, outside maybe the Super Sentai Power Ranger stuff that was going on Japanese television, and the Metal Hero shows from Toei, were more... Forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, we have a chihuahua, if that's what you're hearing. We're going to do our best to ignore the ghostly sounds of the almighty Chihuahua.
Is that Gamera?
Yes, I think it is Gamera, and he's back. What do you need? You want to come hang with me? Yeah, that's our little unfortunate friend. Yeah, I may be a professional, but it doesn't change the fact I'm stuck with a Chihuahua now. So, but anyways, yeah, make it like some sort of docudrama, or team up with another Japanese studio to at least get a proper budget. Like, it's like, what is it? Noriaki Yuasa, the director, he was actually working on Ultraman 80, the TV series at the time, directed a whole bunch of episodes for that series. And you can definitely see the influence of Yuasa's childlike mentality on a lot of episodes of Ultraman 80. Almost embarrassingly so. It's almost like Gamera, but you switch out Gamera with Ultraman. And it's like he could have like teamed up with Tubai Productions, and if they had to do something cheap like a new Gamera suit fighting a bunch of leftover Ultraman monsters, that would have been better than what we ended up getting. But I don't know, it just felt like too little, too late, and not. I don't know. I don't want to be too harsh on Noriaki Yuasa, but you do get you do get the feeling that he's one of the directors. It's like he's not. There's two types of directors who do kids movies. Well, three types. There's the ones who take it seriously because they want to treat their kids like adults, with some level of respect and intelligence. There's the children filmmakers who are like, screw it, it's for kids. Who cares? Just do whatever you want. And then there's it's like, it's for kids. Be whimsical. Do whatever you want. Logic. What's that? And I think Noriaki Yuasa was definitely in the latter. And I don't want to be harsh because, from what I understand, he was a nice guy. But yeah, I am not. I don't know how you're going to feel about Gamera Super Monster. You probably have more tolerance for that movie than I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like me trying to. I remember when you asked me to riff it on my own. It's just, I just kind of gave up on it, like towards the third act. It's like, ugh, what is this I'm watching?
I assume it? I can't assume it ever played in theaters. Was it? Did they sell it directly to television, or was this theatrical?
No. It was theatrical, but.
Oh God!
It's like, as our friend Patrick Galvin said, the Japanese film industry has been dead since the '60s, and if it did come out on theaters, I don't think it exactly had a major Hollywood backing, so to speak. So, but yeah, it was in theaters. I know when it came to America, it definitely was straight to TV, and even then, I don't even think it was given a proper showing too. It was like, because it's not a part of the Sandy Frank package, which was the version of Gamera movies that were most common on television at the time. Especially with the USA Network, and by extension through the USA Network, that's how we end up with the Sandy Frank films on Mystery Science Theater, because Comedy Central was connected to USA and HBO. But at least to the best of my knowledge, never take anything for granted, people. Oh, cool, we got somebody in the chat. Sean Berry, good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys? Awful! How are you doing? But yeah, at least we got somebody in the stream. Cool. So, but yeah, it's like, I remember Super Monster Gamera only played once in my childhood, and that was like on a really late showing, like I think on a Friday night on TBS. Yeah. And I practically skipped the movie because I just assumed it was just another renamed version of the original 65 Gamera. So when I tuned in on it, all of a sudden it was like this weird stock footage of like Gamera vs. Gauss with new music and new dubbing. It was like, oh crap, I missed a new Gamera movie, and all I could do was just sit and watch the rest of it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those cases, and that was the golden age when late night television networks, especially cable stations like TNT and DBS, would play monster movies late at night, as opposed to now where it's like just, what is it? Endless reruns of like Big Bang Theory and maybe some paid programming afterwards. I don't know. Late night television is not the way it used to be, that's for sure. But no, we're not here to discuss Gamera Super Monster. No, we are here to praise.
Yeah, that vent session will come later.
Yes,
at a later date.
But no, we are here to praise and bury our dear friend Gamera versus Jiger. The kaiju fans and people in the live stream chat, lend us your ears. No, listen, don't throw prop ears at us. Ah!
Oh, you knuckleheads.
Oh. Get out of here for that bad joke. It was worth it.
At least our live streams are interactive, Raf.
Yeah, so with only one guy, Sean Berry. Yeah. So, okay, so... yeah, Gamera Super Monster. Yeah, let me see. I know it was just posted recently. So, Gamera Round 2. Yeah, so,
Gamera versus Jiger, not Super Monster. Right?
Yeah, Gamera versus Jiger. Thank you. Sorry, the horror is still with me. It's still strong. Yes, it was posted 1 week ago. Already we're at a little over 842 views. Not bad, not bad. Oh, 919 views. Excellent. In less than 1 week. So do you think this is going to end up as successful as Virus, or do you think people are just now getting on board with it?
Oh heck, I don't know. I've been caught off guard by the whole reaction to it, so I'm not predicting anything. But yeah, I'm glad people are liking it though, and I'm glad I discovered a new liking for the movie itself. I don't want to say I like the movie, but in comparison, I think I've gained a lot of appreciation for it to Virus and Super Monster, having it sandwiched in between those two. It's kind of a gem. It's probably my favorite of the. It's definitely my favorite of the ones we're doing, and probably one of my favorite of the Showa things altogether. I don't know if any of the other Showa movies really stack up against it. I'm not a big fan of the original Gamera. I'm definitely not a fan of Gauss. Baragon's okay, but it's way too long-winded for my liking. Giron's wonderful and just silly and dumb and great. and Zigra and Super Monster are just sad, and Virus we've talked to death about. So yeah, Jiger might be one of my favorites now because there's not a lot of dilly-doddling around. You know, there's always action happening on screen. There's always an adventure to be had. There's not a lot of boring meetings or boring playtime with kids in this one. Like, they don't just stop the movie cold to race Gamera in a submarine in this one. They take the submarine and they go inside Gamera, and then they kill an infant child inside Gamera. It's a very strange movie. But I don't think it's definitely not boring. At least I don't think so. So that's a plus, I think. And it has its own little I don't think the kids are even that particularly ear grating. So I'm glad. I'm kind of glad we got through this one. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't a slog.
You know, it's funny. You kind of reintroduced me to this movie in a sense, because for the longest time I just kind of brushed it off as one of the lesser Gamera movies that I really didn't care about. But then it's like rewatching the movie in full for the riffing several times, and then seeing your edited version of it. It's like it's actually a lot better than I expected or even remembered it being. It's like I had a VHS tape with the Japanese subtitled version of it for the longest time, and pretty decent quality too. I think it was directly copied from a Laserdisc back in the early 2000s, or Japanese DVD, as opposed to most bootlegs back then, which would be a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. So it looked fantastic, and I was like, I still have the VHS tape somewhere because there's some extra stuff after the movie. But it never really caught my attention. Like, it would be one of those Japanese monster movies that I would just play, and then I would probably go off and do something else and not care about it. But no, this, after rewatching the movie, I was honestly surprised just how well done it was. And I think, well, it's funny because you said that there's really not much of, like, child playtime, and that is true. They got rid of the whole subplot of, like, the kids going off and doing something silly. Like in Gamera vs. Virus, and might as well just call it Boy Scouts lunging about. So, but here, you know, it's like
there's not a lot of diddle-doddling child playtime that isn't integral in some way to getting the plot moving.
Exactly.
Because there's no need for them to race around with Gamera in a submarine for like 5 minutes, just to have him trapped in a bubble. There's no need for that. But the diddle-doddling that occurs in this, the submarine voyaging that occurs in this, they take either a really brave or really stupid move into their own hands and travel inside Gamera because none of the adults want to do anything about the parasitic love child that has infested Gamera's lung.
Here's the thing that really took me for a loop rewatching this movie. And I think watching the dub version was a big help because with the subtitles, it's like I'm one of those guys who's happy that we live in a day and age where we have subtitles and dubbed versions of these films on the same DVD. So much so that I'm actually a little sad, and one of the reasons I'm not out buying it in mass, the Criterion collection of Showa movies, the reason I didn't get it is because I already have like very good DVDs and Blu-rays of these movies already. And secondly, it's like, for the most part, the majority of them is just the Japanese version of the film, which I know a lot of purists prefer. But it's like the dub versions that aren't available are like the international dubs, and I can't stand those, especially compared to the good work with Tetra Studios. The same people, I think, was behind the dubbing for Gamera vs. Jiger here.
Yeah.
But no, the thing that really threw me for a loop with Gamera vs. Jiger is first off, it's actually well done story-wise. Like, it doesn't feel like we're wasting our time, even when we are in boardroom meetings and there are, like, discussions and meetings with the adults. It feels like stuff is getting done. Like, they're coming up with a plan, or new information is being presented. It's good exposition scenes, basically.
Yeah.
And more to the point, what really surprised me was it's one of the few Showa era Gamera movies where the adults are, while they're not the stars or the how should we say, the child protagonists, I can't think of a better term, they still contribute greatly to the story. It's like, what is it? They bring in a Japanese biologist to discover what the problem is with Gamera, and of course, more people remember that scene for the gross out, Dr. Gross Out's
Dr. Gross Out.
yes, elephant footage of a poor elephant getting. But at the same time, the fact that they are able to come up with it's like, we know what the problem is, so what we're going to do. Of course, the kids take this information and take the initiative to go into the miniature submarine, go inside Gamera, and take care of it, directly. But still, throughout the movie, it's adults being competent, working with the kids working with the adults, especially when they resurrect Gamera and keep Jiger at bay until Gamera comes back. And you don't see that in, like, the child-friendly Gamera films. Usually the adults try all these elaborate schemes that fail miserably until Gamera is either awakened, or the kids come up with, like, a very simple plan that should have been done ages ago. Like Kenichi says, we should just burn a bunch of fires, and I'm gonna eat some fudge now. Oh, we have to burn the forest, it's punishment for us being adults. Or like Gamera vs. Giron, which is just like complete fu to the adults. But no, here it's, and I like that kind of fiction where I don't like fiction where kids are like these almighty, can do everything right type stuff. You see in a lot of like Nickelodeon shows and movies from the 90s. Or I really can't stand it when kids are completely useless, like say the Tom Cruise version of War of the Worlds.
Oh God.
Yeah, here it's like a perfect mix of like competent adults and adventurous kids as working together with the monster to defeat the villainous monster. Even the jerk character, the director of Expo 70, the smarmy guy, it's like, Gamera taking the whistle back? Yeah, right. Even he doesn't waste time being a complete jerk. Like, he's a jerk, obviously, but he still gets stuff done, and he still works with everyone else, too. And I haven't seen that in any kind of children's fiction, especially from the kaiju genre, because I've seen enough kaiju films to know that when it gets kid-friendly, it gets nauseating. Now, of course, I'm going to make a comparison because this movie is nowhere near as good as it is, but it does remind me of kind of the...
If you make a comparison to Schindler's List, Raf, like, did I ever tell you I love Andrew, but he and I had a chat years back where he just mentioned, like, offhandedly, oh, you have good movies like Schindler's List, Gamera 3, and I'm like, whoa, that's a broad statement. Yes, these two are good movies, granted, but putting them together like that.
Yeah, that's that's like, how can I say, that's like comparing Close Encounters of the Third Kind with, I don't know, Cool Runnings.
Raf, you have good movies like Megamind and Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Yeah. Yes. Oh God. Ikiru and the Care Bear movie.
Herbie the Love Bug.
Yes, exactly.
Goes to town.
Yeah. No. I'm not going to make a comparison that wild or that extreme, but. There was this TV show called Avatar: The Last Airbender on Nickelodeon, where it was a little too kid-centric in the early seasons, but as time went on, our child heroes teamed up with a bunch of adult or older heroes to fight against the villains, and it was really taken to an even better extreme, even though the show itself wasn't all that good, in the sequel series Korra. And you kind of see it in a new animated series from the same people called The Dragon Prince, where it's a good mix between kid protagonists and supporting and competent adult characters. And you kind of have a feeling like that with Gamera vs. Jiger here. And that was really a revelation as far as I was concerned. And that really makes the movie a lot more tolerable because, again, you can make a movie where the kid characters are just annoying and there and completely useless, or the adult characters are completely useless and the kid characters are just so annoyingly perfect. Like, it's like a lot of the other Gamera movies where like tons of like terrible kid films from the 90s. Like, you know, it's like, I know in real life an adult would not be this concerned about helping a giant turtle because a kid told him to. In real life, the adults would just let Gamera die, and then they would firebomb Expo 70 just to get at Jiger, regardless if it would work or not. But, you know, here it was a very entertaining, because it does feel like they put in a little more brain and effort into the script writing. The production itself, though, is a different matter altogether. Like, obviously they had way more money than they did on the previous two Gamera movies, Giron and Virus, because things are a lot more lively. There's more model sets. There's a lot more action sequences. Both the giant monster fights and just adventurous sequences, like our kid heroes going inside Gamera to fight the baby Jiger. There's a lot more props. There's an obvious amount of extras.
There was no fight, Raf. That was an all-out murder job.
No. It was an out-and-out murder job after our acrobatic slapstick routines.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, but that's
after the make 'em laugh. After that.
Yeah, but with that said, you can still feel a veneer of like speeded up production and cheapness around, because the model sets are not as good as they were in some of the previous Gamera movies. Especially, it's like some of the model buildings look like they were just haphazardly made. Especially the classic.
Especially the Expo 70 building.
What was the line you had? Even the real buildings.
Even the real buildings in this movie look fake. Yeah.
Oh God. Expo 70. I'd love to know more information about Expo 70 and see how it went. So
I'm sure it's very culturally significant, and it was probably really, really historical, and hey, great and praiseworthy. But God, those are the buildings that represent the world. I'm just speaking from an architectural standpoint, a visual standpoint. I'm sure it all means something, but yeah, weird looking buildings. Right. Goofy Buildings Incorporated.
And also it was the 70s or the late 60s going into the 70s. So of course you still had that, like I appreciate the artistic vibe that, was coming around at that time. But at the same time, it really dates the buildings and does come off more goofy with its modern art than, unique and interesting. Was it like that one Mystery Science Theater episode that started with that Century 21 where the kids visit a World's Fair, and that World's Fair feels more put together and more timeless than what we see at Expo 70? Even its famous statue representing peace and the growth of mankind looks like a chicken for some weird reason.
A giant chicken with a terrified expression. Yeah, it's I don't want to be, ignorant Westerner or whatever, but I'm just commenting on it from an aesthetic point of view. It looks a little silly, and I hope we didn't offend the world by poking fun at the buildings. But Expo 70's involvement definitely benefited the production costs, I suppose.
Yeah. Although I do know one fact for sure, that because Expo 70 was pretty much writing the check for this film, that's one of the reasons why Expo 70 is not really attacked at all in the film. Like, Jiger is like blowing up buildings left and right and killing millions of people, but then you have that whole subplot. It's like, well, what about the Expo? And the closest thing we get to a battle at Expo 70 is just Gamera and Jiger in a vacant lot, flying around the communist Russian
away
building.
From all the important buildings. Yeah, Gamera picks up a random pole from somewhere and beats Jiger over the tail with it, then sticks two things in his ears. But that's about all the destruction caused to the structures. The monster on monster violence is interesting. It's very goofy and very slapsticky, but there's that hanging feeling of just bloodshed and violence that comes about where Gamera stabs him in the skull, like with the the devil's whistle at the end of it. So it's a very uncreative but very effective finishing move for Gamera.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't burn him with his fire, burn him alive with his fire, or drag him into a volcano, or blow him up with like an elaborate rocket trap like in Giron. He just stabs him in the head, and it works.
Right.
And the kids cheer on.
Yeah, exactly. So, what else was I going to say? God, sorry about that. I had a brain fart. So, brain aneurysm. Yeah. Do you think? Do you think the murder of Jiger was a little anticlimactic?
No, it caught me off. It caught me off guard the first time I rewatched it because again I watched it as a kid, but it had been years before. It had been years since I had seen it again when I watched it for what we're doing, and yeah, it caught me off guard, but it's simple but effective. You know, a little anticlimactic. Maybe he just kind of chases him around the sky for a little bit. And then Gamera says enough of this noise and stabs him in the skull with it. It got a laugh out of me,
right?
Just because of the basic bluntness of it.
Yeah, I think the basic bluntness is a good way to describe Gamera's and Jiger's relationship through this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because at times it feels like it's just two stupid monsters / stuntmen and messing around, and then suddenly you get moments of extreme violence, like Jiger.
The stunt choreographer was constantly trying to see what he could get away with.
Yeah,
the movie.
exactly. And then it's like, and then you get shocking moments where Jiger basically impregnates Gamera parasite style, of course the final move where Gamera just enough of this, boom.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, but no. It's like the monster fight scenes would not be half bad, but I think the over-reliance on slapstick does hurt it a bit from taking it seriously at all. And also some of the execution of the fight scenes, especially in the editing and some of the effects, definitely leaves a lot to be desired. Because it's like, what is it? Like Gamera's flying in the air 1 second, and then in the very next shot, he's in the ocean without any transition whatsoever.
Yeah.
Or when Jiger uses her heat ray for the first time, somehow, when it turns people into skeletons, they magically stand they're
perfectly still.
Yeah, perfectly still. It's like a terrible effect. It's like
and then Jiger backing up and getting blown up in little factory like thing when Gamera first touches down for the second fight, and then automatically Jiger's in the air flying for no apparent reason at all.
Yeah. And of course, now that you mention it, Gamera and Jiger's inability to stay in the air or make smooth landings at all throughout this whole movie.
Yeah.
It's like, I know one joke that I came up with that we didn't end up using in the final Mystery Science Theater episode was basically
fan episode,
yes. Was they should have called this movie Gamera and Jiger versus Gravity.
Yeah, the Gravity versus Jiger. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if that was a directorial choice or what, but yeah, they can't land worth a crap. I really don't know if that's a difficult maneuver for them with the prop. I don't know.
Yeah,
but whenever they crash land, it always looks so clunky and like wrong and like a mistake. But they said, hey, we can't get it right in 2 shots, so just keep it in and let's keep this moving.
I honestly, now that you mention it, I honestly think that because this movie does have a bit of a cheap feel to it, that I guess they figured it'd be better just have Gamera and Jiger just fall to the ground than try to do elaborate scenes where models are landing comfortably. Because you had plenty of good Gamera lift-ups and landings in Virus, and then here it's like there are literally scenes where you think Gamera just exploded off screen because they didn't show him land.
Yeah, twice in the movie. He enters both the second and last fight with Jiger by flying past them completely, missing them, and then just suddenly dropping on top of a few buildings and exploding and fire. But then he's okay. Then he's up back on his feet in the next shot.
Yeah, and I don't know what the idea was just to have because Jiger cannot fly. She can literally fall with style, lack of style, I should say. It's like she flies for like a couple of feet, then falls to the earth. And this is
as those jet propulsion things, little air like a jetpack kind of.
Yeah, maybe
on what is it? The arms or the cheeks? It's on like a weird place on the suit.
Yeah, the back of her jaws, I think, is the best way to describe it. But yeah, it's like in my own personal headcanon, I've come up with a theory that she's not supposed to fly. She's some freak of nature, and she was supposed to breathe fire through her nostrils or something. But instead, it just comes out the other end. Like she's like a freak baby, even amongst her own monstrous kind. So, and do you think the fact that she has a very vague origins of just being this island demon kind of hurts the character a bit, or you think at this point it really doesn't matter? Because I know we've had fairly elaborate origin stories for some of the other Gamera monsters. I know Baragon is a generational rainbow shooting jungle dwelling lizard demon of multiple generations. We know the backstory of Terra and where the Space Gauss and Giron came from. The Virus aliens, we know they have their own, but here it's like,
Jiger is just a monster that the Mew people or whatever put the statue there to keep it imprisoned in the ground.
Yeah, and that's not even official. That's just the kid Hiroshi just coming up with BS from somewhere
from Gamerapedia. Yeah. I don't know. I have to say, Jiger's as a monster, I don't find Jiger all that interesting as far as Gamera villains go. But I would be lying if I said, hey, put a scene in there where they explain the entire backstory of Jiger.
Yeah.
I didn't care all that much.
Yeah, I think she's a serviceable villain for to say the least.
Yeah, it's Gamera antagonist number 7. So I'm satisfied with the character given in the movie, for the role that they play. That said, yeah, Jiger probably one of Gamera's most devastating opponents or whatever. He can't get a clean win on Jiger for the first two times they fight. Though that kind of seems like a running thing with Gamera, though. He never wins the first fight.
Yeah, but
I think someone made a comment of he's like Batman. He comes in, loses the first fight, but then gains the knowledge and gets prep time, and then comes back. And,
yeah, but here it's like, now that you mention it, I think it is one of the more devastating villains, because before in other Gamera movies, Gamera would be incapacitated on the first fight, but then he'd be gone most of the movie and then come back at the end. Here, Gamera gets incapacitated the first time in their first meeting, then gets really incapacitated once he gets hit
then gets murdered. Yeah.
Reverse watermelon man.
Yeah.
By Jiger. Then there's, and not only that, but again, it's like in most Gamera movies, our kids would just be like running around doing absolute nonsense, probably being chased by aliens in a spaceship set, while Gamera lays unconscious. Here, though, reawakening and getting Gamera back to health is actually part of the story, and they incorporate it into the action, which was a very nice change of pace. And I don't know if they decided because they could do it because they had more money, or if they just decided that, we're getting kind of bored of the Gamera formula. Unfortunately, they went back to it hard with Gamera versus Zigra. Gamera versus H.R. Giger.
Yeah.
You rip-off alien, now I'm going to get you.
Yeah, they didn't have the same financial backing with, Marine World or whatever that they did with
and
Expo 70.
Yeah, and not only that, but Dai Studios was basically falling apart at that point, so I don't think they couldn't do much. And it was funny too, because at some point the Gamera movies were making so much money after Virus, Dai Studios honestly wanted 2 Gamera movies a year. And Noriaki Yasa and his people basically says, "Are you out of your damn mind? We can barely get 1 movie done a year. I almost died doing Virus."
Have you seen this?
Yeah, have you seen this? Oh, it's like what is? I tried talking to Patrick Galvin recently, and I really want to know if there was like a backstory about how bad Dai Studios got, but for the most part, it just seemed like mismanagement and loonies in charge of the loony bins.
Yeah.
Oh god, and even the history of Gamera started with a huge mistake with that unmade giant rat movie Nezura, which it just turned out to be such a film disaster that they had to shut down that production, and then a lot of the leftover models got used for Gamera. So, but yeah, it was Dai Studios. I would really love to see an American book just talking about what the heck happened during the whole studio's existence. But no, for the most part, I was pleasantly surprised with Jiger revisiting it. It was already enjoyable to watch in its uncut version, and then you did what major parts did you have to edit from the uncut version in order to make it work for the Mystery Science Theater?
Well, let me think. I did a new little title sequence thing for it where I basically just imitated the montage but put English credits over it. After that, I didn't really cut a whole lot out of it. Just like little trimming, a little snipping here and there. Right after Gamera's death, or quote unquote death, his incapacitation the second time. There's like a meeting between the adults and the director of Expo 70, where I can't even remember what they talk about exactly or if that leads anywhere. It basically just leads into them having to evacuate the city, which we already saw. Jiger was in the city. We don't need that whole meeting there. It really added nothing. And then later in the movie, oh God, what else did I trim out? I don't think I trimmed much else out, honestly. Jiger kind of remains intact as a movie as it was. Like with Virus, it was much more of a drastic edit with the stock footage scene. But even that affected the plot in no way whatsoever. Because that's what I didn't want to. I was very conscious of not wanting to remove anything that somehow causes a domino effect, and because you remove this piece, everything else in the movie falls apart.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to overly edit things. And I think the movie's still competent as it is, or still not competent, coherent, as it is.
As coherent as a children's Gamera film gets.
As coherent as it could be made, yeah. But I think trimming. I think I cut like maybe 5 minutes out, and that was that scene with all the expo heads meeting for the first time. Yeah, that's really all that I can think of at the moment that I removed. But even then though, even though the original any version of Jiger I'll take over any version of Virus, to be honest. Like those are the only ones I've spent so much time watching, and back to back I can really compare my experience of watching them, doing our initial commentaries, writing everything down, recording everything, and then filming and editing everything, watching it so many times over and over. I wasn't mentally exhausted as much with this one. I would even say I wasn't mentally exhausted at all. Got a little old after a while, but I didn't outright have a seething hatred for the movie like I do with Virus.
Right.
Virus was just boring and so much nothing. Jiger, there was always something silly happening. And the kids weren't grading. The adults weren't grading. Nobody in the movie was typically annoying. And as we've stated, yeah, it's a very competent movie for Dai Studios at that point in time. It was their last big hurrah of, hey, look, we can make a movie. And then Zigra and Super Monster followed. And then money didn't allow them to make a movie anymore.
Now, because this movie was a lot easier to handle, do you think that was a combination of the movie itself generally being better, and also you were more prepared for what to do, as opposed with Virus when it was all new ground?
Probably. I think it was. I think it was just all around a better experience. A better experience watching experience all in all, with being able to work again. There was that big time gap though with being caught up in life pretty much over the summer and the beginning of the fall that got in the way of post-production work. But when I came back to it and decided to just sit down and edit the entire thing from start to finish, I didn't feel as daunted with the second go around, probably because I had done it once before, and I had said to myself, if I can put Virus out there and live to tell the tale, then I can do it with Jiger easily. I'll put it this way: I could bear to see Jiger one more time, whereas Virus, the pain is still there.
Yeah.
Where I don't want to see that ever again.
And again, Virus is such a boring movie. It's Boy Scouts on a spaceship, and then something happens at the end, which is how I feel about the vast majority of Japanese science fiction films in general. Like, don't get me wrong, we were very lucky having the Showa era Godzilla movies and all the related films there, because, you know, there's multiple action sequences, the production values are good, you get more monster action than even most monster movie fans are expecting. But as far as Japanese science fiction in the late 60s and going forward, I tend to notice it's like maybe you might have a cool opening sequence, then it's like an hour and a half of characters talking and nothing happening, and then maybe you'll see an action sequence at the end. And it's like even samurai movies. For example, the First Lady Snowblood movie is extremely good, but then it's based on a source material, and it's a little bigger budgeted, so it's a very episodic adventure story. Oh, what's that? You can't stand Lady Snowblood? You're more of a Lone Wolf and Cub fan? Okay, you want me to stop talking about samurai movies? Okay, I'll get back to kaiju films. Thank you, Zippo, or whatever we're calling you. That's Zippo, the movie critic, ladies and gentlemen. He's our third speaker on this little podcast. Ugh. If I could throw you outside in the cold, I would. But yeah, with this movie, it felt more competent. And it's not just the money. I wonder if they had extra time to work on this one too, or just, I don't know. They really were on their A game as far as everything was concerned. It really made our job a lot better. Speaking of A games, though, let's discuss the sketches and comedy writing process of it, if you don't mind, unless you have something else.
Oh, great.
Yes.
No, I don't. What else? What else is there? We've praised this movie more than enough. I think more than it deserves.
Yeah. It's not one of the greatest Japanese monster movies ever made, but it was definitely a nice little gem to find in the rough, a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, it's like a little bright spot in the journey, sandwiched in between two horrible movies. Wow.
Oh god, yeah, Zigra. Now there's a perfect example of nothing happening. It's like, what is it? Zigra making vague threats to a bunch of soda addicted kids.
Yeah, Coke addicted kids.
Coke.
Yeah, more specifically. Yeah.
I want a Coke. What?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought the dog was gonna share his opinion about something.
Oh, that would have been wonderful.
Yeah. Oh god, I definitely got to figure out something to do with this dog. So. Oh, now you want to leave me? Okay. He's getting to his little car. He's driving away. Ever seen a Chihuahua drive a car? Well, you won't on this live stream.
Oh my God, you have to use your imagination. You got to fill in the gaps.
Yes. It's all poetry. I think we've gone a little far in some places. Alfred Hitchcock pretending to be George Lucas.
Well, that's a mashup.
Yes. I think Harry the Dead Corpse is a funnier character than we ever had before.
Yeah. Yeah, the Gamera movies, they don't get much, or the Showa ones, they don't get much better than Gamera versus Jiger. So if you're looking for a good time, watch a good movie. But if you're looking for a good time with a Gamera movie, Jiger should be up there on the watch list, I suppose.
Yeah.
What do you think it's more enjoyable than Giron?
I think it's more like, I like Giron, but mostly because I think the monster Giron is such a unique character, and the alien space keeps me invested. But I honestly think this movie's a lot better. It's like Giron's a more interesting monster, and the fight scenes are a little more competently done. But Jiger overall, I think, is the better package, especially when the monsters aren't on screen. So, and plus, Cornjob actually gets to be a real character. The actor who played Cornjob or Kondo.
Kondo.
Yes, my name is Kondo. It's not Cornjob. From Gamera vs. Giron, because the production liked him so much, they had him come back for this movie, and he basically plays Hiroshi's father, who's actually a big kid in his own right, but he's not a useless character. And even though he does, it's sad because he really wanted to go in that submarine and join the kids on the adventure, but he's still there assisting with the maintenance and everything. He's like the cue to the kids' James Bond. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Gamera's
he wanted this to happen all along. This was his plan from the very beginning.
Yeah, don't you
he
think
set
it's
this
gonna
all
sink?
up.
I wanted to sink.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So KaijuNoir just came in. I didn't know you guys were hosting a stream. Yeah, I didn't know either.
If Andres is available, he can join. But yeah, we're here.
Okay.
We're talking about turtles.
Yeah. No, go ahead and invite Andres if he wants to join us. So if not, no worries. So you take care of that since you can multitask better than I can.
I don't know if. Okay.
Okay.
But you can keep praising Cornjob.
Cornjob is our Lord and Savior.
All hail the corn.
I bet if he went to that alien planet and he would find some way to grow giant size and take out Giron with a good kick in the face.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, he definitely gets a character in this one rather than just. Well, he's kind of a similar character to his Kondo and Giron, minus the threatening to shave their heads, and but he still has that sort of siding with the children, childlike innocence about him, to where he believes Tomiko about the aliens abducting her brother and friend.
Right. That's another thing that makes, again, getting back to the differences between this and most other Gamera movies. Like, usually in a Gamera movie, you have a lot of doubting parents and kind of like soft antagonistic characters towards the kids, and they really do come off annoying, like the mothers with no imagination or dreams in Gamera's Giron, or the infuriating adults subplot from Gamera's Gauss. And here, even the characters who are jerks, like the Expo 7D director and the older teenage daughter, they're not that bad. It's like you can tolerate them. It's like they do get a little annoying and antagonistic for no reason whatsoever, but we've seen way worse. We've seen way, way, way worse. So, although it is funny, it's like, Gamera's dead. Now come back home.
Yes, that's the what is it? The contrast, I guess, or the conflict there with does his dad have a name? Does Hiroshi's father have a name in the movie? Is he ever given a name?
It's sad. That's the sad thing about freaking Japanese monster movies. You like the human characters, but you can't remember their names. Especially when they're like co-starring with Jiger and Gamera.
Jiger. I don't think he's I don't think he's given a name. Like what is it? The sister's given a name. Her name is like Miyako, I think.
Miyako, I think it is.
Miyako, yeah. But I don't think he's ever named. Poor guy. But yeah, he's their little family conflict there is that she, for whatever reason, despises monster, and she like plays that role of grow up, telling tales about monsters, blah 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 blah. She's that annoying character in every Gamera movie. But yeah, the dad sides with the kids, and he's as much as a buffoon as the rest of them. And if he could have gone into that turtle and helped with the murdering, he would have.
Oh god, I can imagine him just like, if he had gone inside the submarine, I can imagine him like riding on the back of baby Jiger, like a bull rodeo. That's what it looks like was going to happen. What is it? Crow's comment of jump on his back and pour a quarter in. Jiger was spazzing around there. It was very violent. I think somebody's joined us.
Who could that be?
I don't know, stranger. You tell us.
A stranger in the darkness.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who is this guy? I gotta give him a piece of my mind.
Who does this guy think he is?
Yeah. Who's this interloper who entered our funny little painting?
I have answers and I want questions.
All right, so yes, ladies and gentlemen, KaijuNoir has joined our live stream, and before we're about to discuss the kind of behind the scenes making of this episode, but do you want to share your quick thoughts on Gamera vs. Jiger? Because me and Brayton here, I almost called you Brendan Tenold.
The other one, Raf.
Yeah, the other Canadian. I'm sorry, all you Canadians look the same.
We all secretly share one consciousness. That's why.
Yeah, it was a major tragedy when John Cadney, the hive mind, was destroyed so many years ago. Yeah, we all kind of spun off. Yeah. It was rocky there for a while. Yeah, exactly. So
just wondering, am I coming in okay? Like, because I'm not using a microphone or anything in this case. So if there's an echo, just let me know.
You're fine.
Yeah, you seem okay.
Okay. Let's see. As for Jiger, it was never one of my particularly favorite Gamera movies. In fact, it's one of one of my least revisited or my least watched Gamera movies in the whole franchise, because it's sort of like in that gray period. It's like, it's not great, it's not bad, it's not even so bad it's good. It's just so middling of a film that there's nothing really there to really explore. And the thing that really kills the movie for me personally is the pacing. Because it seems like the filmmakers were trying desperately to stretch the movie out as long as they could. Now, it kind of reminds me of something like Gamera versus Barugan, where they froze Gamera, they temporarily put Gamera out of commission as a means of, extending the plot forward and adding more dramatic weight to the storytelling. So it's like, oh no, our one and only hero is gone. What are we ever supposed to do? And you got some interesting things, such as the whole like diamond chase thing and the human villain getting his comeuppance. But in the case of Jiger, not only do they do that trick once, but twice. And it was like, and again, the whole Yellow Submarine bit had already been done before with Virus. And as much of a slog as that movie was, at the very least, it was the very first, I believe, the first instance of an alien invasion plot.
Yeah.
And the whole goofiness with the Boy Scouts and Jim and Masao, that's got some charm to it. And sure, a lot of the movie is a good chunk of the movie is stock footage, but at least it's stock footage of better movies. It's just, I feel like, there's nothing beyond the pacing. There was nothing else that's like terribly wrong with Gamera versus Jiger. It's just that it always came off to me as like a very unremarkable film.
Well,
Yeah.
There's nothing-
what we got here? Dissenting opinion.
Even like Jiger herself, I guess, itself comes off to me as just another Barugan. And also, as for Jiger as a monster, it's like, sure, a lot of the monsters tend to have these sort of like Ultraman-esque gimmicks to them that gives them a lot of like quirky charm to each of them. But in the case of Jiger, I don't know what it is for Jiger, but Jiger as a monster never really clicked with me, only because I felt like so many of its powers just came off as being too random for my taste. It's like, not only does it have like the suction cups, but it also can shoot the horns, and it's got some weird sound vibration that occasionally disintegrates things, but doesn't in other cases.
Very consistent power set.
Its power sets are all over the place and doesn't really gel well together. It's like, for me personally, if you're gonna have like a wacky power, at least just stick to one or two, not like not a baker's dozen.
Quick aside.
Yeah, and Jiger gets a new power whenever it's convenient.
Yeah, quick aside.
Now
that you guys mention it, is it just me or the Gamera monsters from the show era almost feel a little bit like the kind of original kaiju you see on DeviantArt, which is so many ridiculous powers? It gets so ridiculous.
Oh my god! Like, it's like the worst kind of DeviantArt monsters, where like these people with their OC kaiju just like, it's got this power and this power and this power and this power. It can do everything at once. It can kick Godzilla's ass 10 times over.
Yeah, the only thing Jiger is missing is a backstory that it's some sort of ancient god incarnate or some nonsense like that. It's like a perfect example is like Colossal Kaiju Combat. You had that really fun-looking golf course monster, and instead it's like, it was a great-looking design. It was a lot of fun. It was a good mix between unique kaiju and Power Rangers style silliness. But then the origin story just kind of, because I could have come up with something like, oh, it's a magical elemental creature that took on the form of a golf course. Or a golf course was on top of it. But no, it was like, it was the ancient Norse god of golfing. It's like, how does that work?
The Norse didn't even invent golf. Wasn't it like fucking like the Scots or something, or the Irish?
Yeah, or I
think
know.
it was the Scottish.
Yeah, but no, it's like that doesn't make sense. You could come up with a billion different reasons for this thing. It's an earth monster that happened to incorporate a golf course into its biology. It's it's a golem made of golf course. So, but it's like the god of golf.
Wizard. It's a wizard that whose favorite pastime was golf.
Yeah, that's in a weird sense that's more verisimilitude than what we got with what eventually happened. And yeah, with Jiger, it feels like they just threw it is almost like discount Baragon, because we didn't mind Jiger. We thought she was a serviceable villain before you came aboard. But then you mentioned she does feel like they're trying to do Baragon phase 2, and it's not working out. Oh god! The only thing that she's missing is like shooting rainbows from her ears or something.
Well, who needs rainbows when you've got the ability to
toothpick noses? You can sneeze toothpicks. You can disintegrate tanks. You can use the Force. She has a midichlorian count. She can fly, kind of.
Barely.
She can burrow underground.
She can jet ski across the ocean like it's no one's business.
It can do whatever it wants. Jiger's as I said, I think it was serviceable for the story, for the plot it was trying to go with, but nothing very unique. And as you said earlier, Raf, there was really no development for its backstory other than, hey, it was the mule people that built a statue to put it in the ground because it's a bad monster. That's all you need to know. Jiger. I don't know. It's probably at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to creative Gamera villains.
Yeah.
I do want to mention, recently, a friend of mine asked me to get the Gamera vs. Barugan manga for him. And I got it last night, and I was reading through it, and guess who had a cameo in that manga?
Raf?
Jiger.
Oh.
Or an alternate version of Jiger.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I thought you were literally asking because...
Dirty McCruption stealing the Barugan egg.
It's mine, damn it!
Funny enough, here's something I didn't know about it. I was skimming through the whole manga before I plan to send it out later today. I was surprised to find out that the majority of the manga story is a faithful adaptation of the original 1966 film.
Yeah, now before we continue, for anybody watching us, and I do mean anybody,
please.
I believe it was in the early 2000s or late 90s, they made a manga remake of Gamera vs. Baragon, and this is not a simple adaptation of the original movie. It's taking the Gamera vs.
It is.
Yeah.
It is an adaptation of the movie, but incorporated into the continuity.
Yeah, no, Doug, stop. We don't want to hear your opinion. No, I mean, it's not an adaptation of the original 66 film. I mean, it is an adaptation, but they do kind of fit it into the Heisei era and update it. So it's not like a bunch of other kaiju mangas where it's just a straight-on version of the movie it's supposed to show. And complete with a brand new Baragon design, and of course cameos from other monsters incorporating the ancient Atlantis stuff. But with that said, go on and continue talking about it. I just wanted to let people know that this isn't the Gamera vs. Baragon manga from the 60s based directly on the original movie. So this is kind of its own little reboot, its own standalone creature.
Yeah. Well, from what I could from what little I could poorly translate out of it, it's like there's a point where the main protagonist, he gets screwed over by one of the villains who steals what he believes is a jewel, which is actually Barugan's egg, and he runs off, leaving the main character and I guess his dead uncle behind. Mm-hmm. And the main character, he's like unconscious. He's lost in his thoughts, thinking about how much humans have affected the environment over time and creating weapons of mass destruction. And during this time, you see a montage of Gauss, an Asian dragon, a unicorn, and then finally in the last panel, you get visions of Barugan, Iris, Zigra, and Jiger.
Mm-hmm.
And I share the image with you guys right now on.
Yeah, this OBS is moving a little slow tonight, so I don't know if I'll be able to show this image, but... What's that, dog? You have opinions? Really? Really? Oh my goodness! Did you hear that, Andres? He just explained something we had no idea about the manga. Thank you for sharing, dog.
All of his opinions pretty much add up to blood curdling screeches, Raf. I'm kind of noticing
Just
that.
play along with the gag, right? And just because Andres is here doesn't mean this whole.
I'm not working with your dog. I'm not collaborating. I refuse on principle. I don't work with animals.
And what's also really a neat surprise is that the very beginning of the manga is a faithful recreation of the climax and resolution of Gamera 2.
Okay, like I said, don't expect me to put the image up right away. So, but with that says though, do you think what is it? Gamera vs. Jiger was definitely an improvement over Virus, or no?
It's really hard. Sorry. It's really hard to say, only because both of them have severe pacing issues, but I feel like the Virus has a more interesting plot than Jiger. Mm-hmm. Jiger feels as basic of a monster movie as you can get. And so, if I'm ever to see a movie, I most likely will probably stick to Virus. So I'm going to say, technically, it is a better movie because it doesn't rely so much on stock footage. And it's really hard to say because personally, I would prefer Virus over Jiger. Mm-hmm. But on a technical level, I would say Jiger is the better film.
That's funny because me and Brayton kind of prefer Jiger over Virus, and yet technically we know Virus is the stronger movie.
It's definitely the more interesting movie in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Brayton, take it away for a little bit and talk about what went into the making of this particular episode, our fan episode of Mystery Science Theater this time around. While I throw this dog outside with extreme prejudice.
Oh my lord! Out into the freezing bitter cold of 70 degrees, Raf, in California.
No, I'm gonna put him in the... Oh, now he's burying himself under the blankets. Anyways, I'll take care of him.
Oh god, that's terrifying. Okay, well, a lot of the reason I don't like Virus so much is because I spent so much time editing the damn thing because I had no idea what I was doing the first time around. So that's definitely a coming into the second episode, having built everything, just having it a matter of watching it over and over again like we did the first time. We watched it a little differently the first time. We were able to get everybody together for multiple viewings rather than getting everybody together but in weird, different, separate viewing occasions. We brought Will on board. We had a lot of material going into the riffing of the movie itself. So I'd say that the actual production of the second episode went a lot smoother than the Virus one, at least for me personally, from an editing perspective, because that's the thing I obsess most over is editing and trying to get everything lined up perfectly and trying to make it as snazzy looking as possible. And with Virus, watching it so many times and being kind of new to what I was trying to do with the green screening and the matching that up with the audio, Virus just had a numbing quality on me after a while because it was such a slow-moving, plotting kind of, hey, kids go around this hallway, then they sneak into this hallway, then an alien throws his arm at him, and then more stock footage. That got a little numbing after a while, but I think Jiger, for me editing it, Jiger worked much better when it came to practically putting the episode together, having to watch it through over and over again. And I don't know, I like Jiger a lot more because to me anyway, it just seems like a lot more is happening on screen. And I think in the quote unquote editing room, that's a little easier on the mind when you have different images to look at rather than the same gloomy hallway you've seen a million times before. But yeah, not a whole lot of the biggest aggravation when it came to the production of the thing was just having pretty much everything in my personal life get in the way of hobbies. But not too many struggles on the recording aspect of things or the filming aspect of things for me. I kind of, what was it? With the first episode, I almost broke one of the robots. With the second episode, I almost knocked over the set accidentally after I had gotten done filming everything. So that was the only cause of alarm with the actual like production of it. And then with pre-production, just editing it all together, it was just more of with Virus, I kind of crunched the editing process, trying to get it all done within like 2 days. And then with this one, it was done over a long period of time. So that was a lot more lax on my side of things. It felt a lot more relaxed this time around, trying to put the actual thing together. With Raf, how was it with you, Raf, now that you had co-stars with the Crimson Weirdo material?
You know, to be honest... Oh, I'm eating a cookie.
Oh, okay.
Say something. Don't let the dead air happen.
Raf's eating a cookie. He thought it would be a good idea to chew on cookies while podcasting on his channel. How much time do you need me to fill, Raf? Swallow the damn thing.
To be fair, unlike other podcasters on YouTube, I eat with my mouth closed. I chose a quiet cookie over potato chips. And I still thought you were going to talk for a little bit. So. And that was water. So okay.
Welcome to the Raf Describes Everything He Puts in His Mouth podcast. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to intake oxygen. Oh, that was CO2. I'm trying to fill your time here, Raf. Are you?
I was done.
Are you satisfied?
Done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's try. Yeah. Let's try to keep this one professional. I don't want this ending up like the Halloween YouTube live stream, where it's. I think after Andrew dropped the his character bomb, we all had to rein it in a bit. But anyways, speaking of characters, on my end.
That was so terrible. That was the greatest live stream ever.
No, it wasn't. Like I'm honestly thinking of just taking it, editing it down to like a manageable 1.5-hour version, as opposed to the 4
manageable 5 minutes.
But anyways, okay. So with the first fan episode we did with Gamera vs. Virus, the problem was me just trying to read those lines while dressed up in that costume and being panicky about it. But I filmed so much extra footage that Brayton had plenty to work with and made a much better performance out of it than what I could offer in the uncut version.
Made an editing Raf, much like Star Wars.
Yes, exactly. Much like Star Wars. Personally, though, like I'm very happy with the Crimson Weirdo footage I was using Gamera vs. Virus, despite how hard it was to film this. Here, though, was the opposite. It was an easy-to-film thing because I actually had help with Mark there the whole time. But because we did so little footage, I wasn't able to improv or give multiple takes like I did beforehand. Largely because it was already kind of late and we were filming during a convention weekend. So we couldn't really, stay up late and do too much with it, especially since we all had to go to bed and wake up next day. I forgot what convention it was, but I know it was one of... I think it was... Japan World Heroes. We filmed that over the weekend of that. This was happening over at the Pasadena Convention Center last summer. Back in August. So yeah, we were on a time crunch. And not only that, but to quote the great W.C. Fields, you don't work with kids or animals. And in this case, the first dog we wanted to use for the role of Frosty...
there was a casting call for animals.
Yes. Mark and Cammy had 2 dogs. One was Ace, one was Alfred. We were almost going to go with Ace, but Ace turned out to be way heavier than I imagined. So we went with the younger, newer Alfred, but Alfred turned out to be utterly terrified of the Crimson Weirdo. And I can understand that it's like it was dark mood lighting, I'm somebody new, and then me dressed up in this weird monster costume. Like
I thought that was acting. I thought the dog had attended like Uta Hagen's courses on acting to get that terrified expression down. No, that was real.
The footage you saw was when the dog was behaving. Other times it wanted to just jump out of my arms and right into the light bulbs.
Oh god.
So yeah, that turned out to be difficult, and we didn't get as much dog footage as possible. Originally, I was just supposed to hold the dog and kind of recreate what I did with Simca with the first Zoltan the Hound of Dracula bit I did way back when I originally created the Crimson Weirdo. But unfortunately, Mark had to stand there and hold the dog for me just so it could do it. Although, thankfully, it did result with Mark doing a little bit of comedy with the flashlight there. And I think Mark, although he does a lot of like vlogs on his various YouTube channels, both the one that's heavily political and the one that's just him sharing pop culture love and whatnot, I think this is the first time he really did acting. And although I think he delivered a lot of really good lines, you could tell the timing is off in the original footage. So much so, I don't think the editing really saved it this time. In fact, I'm personally kind of, and it's nothing against Mark and at all. It's like, in fact, I'm honestly would love to see Mark more in the third episode, since it is going to be the final climax, and maybe have Mark do like sort of a TV Frank thing. It's like, I'm sorry you guys are going through this horrible movie, but I'll try. Mark, I need you to tell me off. That old gag from Manos to Hands of Fate. You won't see it, of course, or it's an off-camera thing. Don't get sicked out.
Oh no, we'll see it.
Okay.
and I'll mark the video for kids, and then all hell will break loose.
I mean, you got
I'll dress up as
you got animation,
yeah.
You got kids. Technically, through the movie, you got kids involved in the video.
Yep.
I'll dress up as
whole
Elsa.
firestorms.
Mark will dress up as Spider-Man. It'll just work out perfectly.
God.
Okay, but no, I really do think that because of the limited footage and the fact that we're on time crunch, it really showed. And even though when you tried saving it with the editing, I don't think it worked out that well. Although the scenes with the Crimson Weirdo and the later sketches, particularly the Doctor Who spoof and the ending, I think those worked out a lot better. But as far as, I don't think we're going to be seeing Zoltan, the Hound of Dracula, anytime soon. So, but,
Well, it was originally supposed to be Zoltan the Crimson Canine, but then Raf misread the script and it became Zoltan the Hound of Dracula in the episode.
That's how I know the dog and the characters.
Sorry, Raf.
Right. And not only that, but I'm kind of sad there wasn't more interaction between Helmet and the Crimson Weirdo, because the Crimson Weirdo has, at least in this episode, in my mind, he has done his most evil act yet, stealing somebody else's dog.
Yeah. Or withholding the dog, at least.
Yeah. No, he stole him. He stole him outright.
I like to believe that when Helmet makes his way back to Earth, the Crimson Weirdo will give him back.
Take him. I can't work with this thing.
Thank God you're back.
Yeah, all it does
has been a terror. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ruins all of my live streams.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a different dog. That's Zippo. So, that Chihuahua. Anyways, but no, the other sketch, I do have to admit though, as much as I'm disappointed personally with the Crimson Weirdo bits, I'm very, very happy with how the sketches came out. I think we have like our strongest sketches yet. It's like I adore the sketches we did for the Virus episode, and they're a lot longer and have time to breathe. And I'm one of the few people who actually likes the sketches, the host segments from Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
But here, I think we did an excellent job. They're short, but they get to the point. And they're very funny, and they really just smack you with comedy shock. Especially, I think my personal favorite is Wasted British Talents, and not because I came up with a concept for that.
You came up with the entire thing.
And that was just
it's a Raf Enshohma original.
Yeah, but no, just the execution of it, just how quick it goes, and it just like so many like sight gags in one episode. Like, let us look back at the long career of Hans Gruber, Gamera versus Jiger, and some other crap.
Yeah.
And your most famous role as White Dad, zoom in on the butt.
Yeah.
And of course, like Andres, you are honestly a good comedic actor when you're given the chance, because it's like, yeah, you really show it in this episode.
Oh yeah. Andres is really. I've known from talking to Andrew that he's already crazy and could do the crow well. But yeah, Andres, Andres really surprised me with just how damn good he was at just being goofy with his delivery. And the first one with the Camp Gamera thing, where Tom Servo just turns into a blubbering mess over the fact that Gamera didn't show up to his own camp. And then with this one and the weird posh British presenter thing.
Yeah. Oh, God. And
it was just really good.
And how he opens it always gives me a smile, like,
smashing.
Are you there, Hans, my boy?
It kind of reminds. It kind of took me back in the days when I would like drive from home to college every day, and it would be like a 20-30 minute drive, so I'd be stuck in traffic listening to the radio, and occasionally I'd just like get lost in my thoughts and start fucking around with different voices just to pass the time during those like traffic heavy that traffic heavy time. So it's just kind of like, it's sort of a thing I've always practiced when I'm in complete isolation.
Yeah.
Where no one can judge me. And now I can just fuck around with everyone to judge me on the internet.
And it's great. It's great because I'm far, especially recently because I've been getting into it more, I'm far more confident and comfortable being a voice actor than I am being an on-screen type dude. So doing silly voices and letting Andrew and Andres do the heavy lifting with sketches like that rather than Helmet just trying his best is definitely the preferred thing. Because with the wasted British talent thing, I think it's the shortest sketch of the second episode, but I think it's definitely the punchiest and the strongest one, mainly due to Andres's British presenter style, and I of course had to throw in the Draco Azul plug it in there too.
Greatly appreciated that.
Yeah, it's now everything's canon, Raf. This is what you always wanted. All the universes.
Hear that? You know what that means, Andres? Draco Azul will have to battle Mechanohawks in one day.
Oh God!
It'll be a 2-minute fight.
Yeah.
2-second fight. He'll just bash the thing and it'll just fall apart in like a rainbow.
Jack Hoxton isn't in everything, Raf. He doesn't have to be tangentially
You mentioned him in the first episode. It's like you edit out all my lines.
Stop trying to turn him into a thing, Raf. Okay, not everyone's dreams can come true. All right, it's not like you can make a comic and hope to God people will pay attention.
Your dreams don't come true, Raf. Just give up.
I'm not speaking from experience, Raf.
No, this is from the guy with the successful independently made mecha comic and the guy with the successful Mystery Science Theater fan series that people are praising more than the Netflix revivals.
That still blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's pretty shot. Well, I'll just mention that real quick, and then I want to go back to praising Andres. Yeah, the whole reaction to what we're doing is I love the show so much. Like if I'm not really a big TV guy, but like my 3 favorite shows of all time are on different ends of the spectrum. There's The Twilight Zone, there's Breaking Bad, and then there's Mystery Science Theater 3000. And I'm totally obsessed with all 3 of those shows, and especially with MST3K. I love the show so much that to hear people say that, oh, we like what you're doing so much that we think it's on par to the current incarnation of the actual show is still really overwhelming, like to me, and like hard to process. So yeah, I can't overstate how much that I'm just honored to hear that by people, and I'm just so grateful for all the support we've been getting. Yeah. But yeah, with Andres as Tom Servo. Andres is a genius, as we all know. He's great at delivering monologues, as we've come to know with these last 2 episodes, and I'm just so glad to have Andres be a part of it in some way, because I always knew I wanted Andres as Tom Servo because he has that deep, lulful voice that none of us are blessed with, but Andres' voice is an instrument, he really. It really our version of Tom Servo is just Andres, and our version of Crow is just Andrew in tiny little robot bodies. But I think that works though. I think it's better when it's basically just the person playing them turned up a little more cartoonishly, rather than having to do a performance.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, I'm going to pretend to be this character.
Isn't that kind of true of the original Mystery Science Theater cast
Yeah.
themselves?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the very beginning days at the KTMA, the local station, Joel wanted Crow to sound like, your typical droid robot, and he wanted Tom Servo.
We need help.
Yeah, and he wanted Tom Servo to just beep and not even talk.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, they discovered over time, oh, this is a comedy show. We kind of have to put a little more personality into the things. And yeah, basically over time, Tom Servo just became either Josh Weinstein originally or Kevin Murphy, and Crow just became Bill Corbett and Trace Beaulieu, just channeled through a puppet body, which sounds a lot creepier than I intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, Andres is Tom Servo. His version of Tom Servo has now just become basically Andres, but more cartoonish.
Yeah.
And Andrew's Crow is just. That's just Andrew. It's just there's no turning up the volume there. Yeah, it's just a little angry New Yorker.
Yeah. Bird, what's with this bird thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
but no, yeah, I think the cast, the quote unquote casting of our show has turned out really, really well. Like everybody's on point, I think, for the character that they're playing.
It's like the only character, Andrew as Crow and Andres as Tom Servo is basically playing themselves as turned up a notch. Helmet, Crimson Weirdo, and to a slightly third distant respect, Mark, we're kind of just doing more funnier versions of ourselves, or more character versions of ourselves. Because to be honest, I think the Crimson Weirdo has a better life going on than me in real life. He's a wizard. He's a practicing supervillain. He has a job.
But he's trying to get it. Well, yeah, he's trying to get a job.
Yeah,
that's his arc.
He has a man in space. No, seriously, he has a man in space.
I have a man in space. And it was also fun having little voice cameos of, first off, my wonderful mother as Magic Voice, and then the real Manos, Justin, as Cambot. Cambot's never had a voice before.
Yeah.
But in our last episode, he finally got the chance to speak.
Yeah. Are you going to try to have... I was surprised how short Cambot was able to talk, or is that the whole gag, and was Manos aware of that?
Yeah, that's the kind of whole gag, and there was a little more to the gag that we're going to continue into the second episode, but the gag is Cambot's been so silent for so long that now he wants to get all of his thoughts out that have been brewing for so long, and he just gets cut off immediately. But no, yeah, the real Manos was really cool about it, and he's like the first Mystery Science Theater YouTube dude I ever found who talked about the show on YouTube. And yeah, he and Sid Part 2 did a really cool and really nice review of our first episode. So yeah, it was pretty awesome to have him be a part of it.
Great. No, it's awesome too. And it's like, no, it's just we've gotten a lot of really positive love and feedback from the Mystery Science Theater fan community, and I agree with you 100%. They are probably the most pleasant fandom I've ever come across with, especially since I've kind of gotten out of fandom in general. So it's like thanks G-Fest for opening my eyes. Oh God!
We'll come to this happy place. Don't bother.
Yeah. Oh dear, but no, it's cool to have him do not only a little review of our show, but also, I'm honestly surprised how many people like the Crimson Weirdo, and I just thought he was like one of my weaker characters, just to be thrown away. And then it's like,
heck, we got Christopher Martinez, the artist and co-creator of Firebeast Dorogon, who wants to take a stab at drawing the Crimson Weirdo.
Yeah, why?
Yeah. Because he's your most well-defined character, Raf.
That's
he's a funnier than we were.
Yes.
Right. Most people don't know this, but he's entirely a digital effect. You see. The technology we're dealing with is astonishing.
We didn't get Raf to play the Crimson Weirdo. Rather, we only had Raf mocap for the motion for the weirdo.
Andy Serkis does the voice work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. He does a spot on Raf Enshohma impression. That Andy Serkis. He's talented.
It's so weird. Yeah. So he's a very nice person, and for a mutant chimpanzee too.
Yeah, and we're thankfully we were able to get him pretty cheap since it's not like he's doing Star Wars or anything these days.
Yeah, they sliced him in half in that last movie.
he's got a lot of free time since 2017.
Exactly. It's like he was looking at the script on the day of filming. It's like, what? I died.
His priorities have been cut in half, and now he's got a lot more free time. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Steel's getting worse all the time.
Well, don't worry. You're going to be in the next movie, Andy. This time we're going to cut you into thirds. Oh, great.
So subvert expectations. We bring back the corpse and we kill it, as opposed to bringing it back to life.
Yeah, nobody would have expected that to happen.
Yeah, I'm terrified what they're going to do to Emperor Palpatine, but that's a different podcast in its own right.
They're going to do that Ultraman thing where they do a weird arm motion, lift him into the air, and then cut him with their little blade lasers that way.
Yeah,
you know how everybody's got their own out there Star Wars theory as to what's going to happen in the last movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Here's what I think. Rey's going to turn out to be some sort of weird female clone body that was originally meant for Palpatine to inhabit, and for whatever reason she got loose. And so that evil Rey we see, that is going to be what Palpatine looks like. He's going to have another clone body, female Rey clone body, and he'll inhabit that. And so throughout the whole movie, we're just going to see Emperor Palpatine in a clone Rey's body.
Oh my god! Oh yes, it's like a Freaky Friday.
I've always felt like I was born in the wrong body.
The dark side of the Force is female, Andres.
Right.
Exactly, of course.
It would be great if Kathleen Kennedy turned out to be Palpatine's clone carcass. Yeah. Anyway, that's a dead brand.
It's less stupid than any other random theory out there.
That's right. The Crimson Weirdo, though, Raf, he's gonna be in there too. That Palpatine hijacked the Crimson Weirdo's Crimson Sentinel. That's where he's been crashing for the last 30 years.
Because us rogue gentlemen have to hang out together.
Yeah. All you dark wizard sorcerers.
All cloaked with dark wizard sorcerers not only do they all look alike, but they all hang out together and they all know each other.
That's
you're a small elderly British man, aren't you? A little British man in Enshohma.
You got me on Billy Barty, and this is just a giant elaborate creature suit from Rick Baker.
I'm glad you got a kick out of the Billy Barty guitar.
Yeah, no, that's another thing I want to mention. Let's get off the Star Wars crap for a moment. We can gush about Star Wars later. What?
Gush?
Never mind. You and your young vocabulary.
Gush. I understood what you meant, Raf. Gush, means like
somebody kicked the little boy out.
It means talk favorably about something, and we were not talking favorably about Star Wars.
Yeah, well, we were still talking about Star Wars, like any Star Wars.
Bashing Star. Anyway, Billy Barty guitars.
Yeah. No, something I wanted to mention was that, you also
before this podcast gets canceled by Netflix, Raf. Quick, you change the subject.
Don't you mean Disney
Barty
Plus?
guitars.
Okay.
That's right.
I get that joke. Okay, now I get that joke. That's a dark time to be talking about right now. Anyways, another thing I really enjoyed was Brayton himself as Helmet. You really obviously got more comfortable from the camera. And although you aren't doing full-on comedy insanities like Andrew and Andres are, it's still obvious that you're having a lot of fun on the camera, especially in that opening bit.
I don't have the benefit of being 2 feet tall and being able to fling my plastic parts around to comedic effect.
Oh no, you swing your little parts around for sure, especially it's like
whoa, Raf, whoa. We said we wouldn't bring that up on the podcast.
No, I meant your arms.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
not your dingly bits.
My dingly bits are my arms.
No, well, everything's a dingly bit. Anyways, no, it's like that opening sequence where it's first off you have the Billy Barty guitar, which is just quintessential Mystery Science Theater, just to bring up like a bizarre reference like that. and then it just cracks me up. Like, there's my Billy Barty guitar.
Barty.
Yeah, wow. And then you just throw it off where it gets destroyed.
Haphazardly off screen with a crash noise. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like something like that would be incredibly rare in real life. But plus that joke reminded me so much of the kind of stuff they do on Red Letter Media all the time. It's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like, look, I found the original script of Star Wars. Throw it into the fire.
Set it on fire.
And then you hear like a whole bunch of like exaggerated sound effects anytime they drop something off screen.
Yeah, exactly.
What is an elephant doing in here?
Yeah. No. You took the absurdity of the humor up a notch too, which makes it even funnier than the first episode. But it was clear you were very comfortable around the camera, and you delivered a lot more hilarious line reads, especially when we cut back.
I had to sing a stupid song, a musical number, so of course I had to learn to be more comfortable. This time
and plus, let's face it, you would have sung a song eventually.
that was as I mentioned to you guys, that was the sole purpose for this ever being a thing in the first place. It was just to sing a dumb song about a little doggy seeking revenge against a dog napper. Was the reason. Yeah. I was channeling my inner oh god, what's the band? Yellow Ledbetter. What's that band? Pearl Jam. That's
Pearl
it.
Jam?
I was channeling my inner Pearl Jam with the Sharon Revenge. Yeah. So that was fun, but I was a lot. Just me watching it. I never liked watching myself in the first place, but it was a lot easier to stomach my own footage this time around. Mainly because I did have the benefit of props this time around, which helped, like the Doctor Who semi-Doctor Who outfit and the oh god, what is it? The little pipe I threw together and being attacked, throwing my hat in the air, and the inflatable shark across the screen. Mm-hmm. So I had more stuff to do that way. I had more things to interact with this time around.
Yeah, but no, it's just like a lot of the little character bits you guys threw in is just hilarious. I love the part where you guys come back from the first commercial break with that disturbing McDonald's commercial. We'll talk about the commercials in a moment.
Was it disturbing?
We'll talk about it in a moment. Shut your mouth. Shut your pie hole. Let me finish talking. Okay?
It's more just
we'll get to the damn McDonald's commercial. You apple pie eating McDonalders. Anyways, as I was saying,
McDonald's is the key to all this.
Yeah. It's a perfect. It's a perfect
quiet,
medicine.
Quiet. Here, have a Big Mac. Eat it while I talk. Okay. Anyways,
I want to go to McDonald's every day with you around.
Kill your. All right. Anyways, no, I just love that bit after we got back from the first commercial. It's like you're doing the little disco dance floor, and it's like we're gonna have bagels, and we're gonna have coffee, and we're gonna have sleepovers, and the two robots are just like no.
We're gonna have a toga party, a yoga party.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what a yoga party is, but
So no, congratulations on your part in the film too. So.
Well, thank you. Well, with the commercials, I wanted the commercials to be different this time around because I wanted each commercial to tie into the episode. Mm-hmm. So, the first moving in McDonald's commercial ties into Helmet moving in. The second commercial with the Duracell battery family ties into Rollo and the creepy idea of having a robot run your entire household. Mm-hmm. The third commercial. I don't know what's the third commercial. The
more robots.
Oh, the bot. We're the bot boys. That comes right after Tom Servo and Crow beat the crap out of Helmet. So everything kind of ties into what's going on in the episode. Yeah. And with the McDonald's commercial, since you want to harp on that one,
I'm sorry. I don't. Remember our little.
How is that the creepy one of the bunch? How is that the creepy one of the bunch?
Yeah, remember our little conversation earlier about like comparing Gamera 3 to Schindler's List. That was comparing extreme tragedy to McDonald's. It'd be like if you did a commercial where a guy has woken up in the middle of a battlefield. He's lost his legs. He's bleeding to death. All his friends and family are dead around him. And then when it's over and he finally survives the carnage, he sees a Jack in a Box and it's like, I'm hungry for a cheese sandwich.
Ronald McDonald saved Private Ryan, Raf.
I mean, again, that's what I've been trying to say. McDonald's is the perfect remedy for grieving.
Yeah.
But Like
You're-
that
you're
was
like-
way,
you're like
way too
50
much
you're
dramatic effort for.
You're like 50,
something
Raph. You
as
lived in the
silly as
90s.
McDonald's.
You lived through the 90s. All these cartoons, all these commercials were basically for McDonald's were basically the same sort of faux dramatic edge to them.
Yeah, but that was a little that was like taking it up to 12 from 11. That's how ridiculous it was. And then it's like, I don't want to be a burden. My wife is dead. I don't want to be a burden. Dad, you're my
But it's
father.
okay. You're my father. And the kid's going to take him to McDonald's every day until his heart explodes.
You know what? I think I know what the problem is. The
Supersize
problem
my
is
heart. Oh!
You see, his grandson first took out his wife with chicken nuggets, and then the second time around, Big Macs are just going to take out the rest of his family. He's picking them off one by one.
You just made the situation even more disturbing than my criticism of it. But it's like, with that said, I do have to make an apology to the Camp Nickerson commercial.
Nipper Sneak,
Nipper Sink, because I thought that was like a little too ridiculous for its own good. It was a little too schmoozy and cute for its own good, but like compared to this commercial, it's like fuck. It's like
quack quack waddle waddle, Raph.
Yes, quack quack waddle waddle indeed. I will quack quack waddle. Nipper Sinkers, we're going to McDonald's in the rain.
McDonald's and you.
Yeah. But I love that commercial compared to this because it was just ridiculous. It's like, oh god, I want to do my own original McDonald's commercial of Dirty McCruption in black and white looking out the window, him talking about all the women he's truly loved are dead.
I've left so many women behind, but there's one person there for me.
No, it's going to be completely silent, no commercials. He's just looking out the window like a film noir, and like one of the scary film noirs. He's talking about all the women he loved has died horrible deaths. He's just been diagnosed with irreversible lung cancer. The world's going to hell. And it's like, but at least I got McDonald's. And he turns to the desk, and it's like the most pathetic little cheeseburger half eaten right there. And it's like, yeah, at least I have McDonald's. And he pulls a gun to his head and cuts to black before the McDonald's logo shows up. It's like that's what it felt like to me. This commercial. It was just.
Are you sure you're not thinking about the fake McDonald's commercial by that one Australian comedian where Ronald goes apeshit when one kid eats a Hungry Jack's?
I've never saw that, nor am I going to waste time watching it here. But it's probably something similar. I don't know. It's like I was thinking more like those British commercials are making fun of the anti-piracy laws and copyrights, and it ends with a kid being shot.
You steal a car.
Yeah,
piracy's not a victimless crime.
Yeah, and it ends with a police officer just mowing down a poor kid in his own room. It's like that's what the commercial.
Well, it's done in slow motion with opera music playing in the background. It's like a scene from The Godfather.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the literal embodiment of the FBI on the ground meme.
Yeah, but no,
it was like FBI open up.
Yeah. But to be fair to this, it seemed too much for a freaking McDonald's commercial. It just seemed like a little too extreme just to sell chicken McNuggets. A man's wife died.
I think I know what's going on. I think Raf is afraid that he's going to be the grandpa who's going to be forced into moving back with his family and being shoved McDonald's down his throat every day.
If you're going to move in with us, Raf, that's your future. That's you moving in with all of us.
I'm looking at pictures of Miss Blue, and it's like, she died. She died. And it's like, Raf, she never existed. But I don't want to be a burden. You are a burden, but we need somebody to protect the mail when it comes in. Okay. And like the hideous love child between Andres and Brayton says, I'll take you to McDonald's every day. How that works, it's the future. Genetic engineering, okay?
I'll take you to Gamera Burger every day. But I find it funny how you find that one so disturbing in an episode where we also have a Dunstan Checks In trailer. I like how we're continuing.
God. Now you just reminded me of that. So
we're continuing. You guys acted like it came out of nowhere when we watched it, but it was set up. It was the punchline to the entire episode.
No,
it starts out with Helmet having.
It's a good.
Helmet has
punchline.
this. Helmet has this unfounded love for the stupid chimpanzee movie from the 90s set up in the
it's
first
an orangutan, goddammit.
Is it a orangutan? I don't know what it is.
It's a
The kid calls it a gorilla. The
Yeah.
kid calls it a gorilla, so everybody's wrong.
I can handle racism against gentlemen, dark lizards dressed in robes, but you don't dare spread that racism to an orangutan, my friend.
A primate. There was a okay. So we set up this joke about a primate movie that Helmet has this unfounded love for in the first segment. He has 37 copies plus 12 that aren't there, and then the final commercial right after Helmet declares he has issues. Boom. Dunstan checks in. Dunstan checks in all its glory. Yeah, that's a movie I have disturbing nostalgia for, and I wanted to share it with you guys.
Yeah, well, okay. Before I actually do want to ask your opinions on Dunstan Checks In because I've seen that movie. But before we get to your quick review of that, I do have to admit, now that you mention it, yeah, that commercial is more disturbing because the McDonald's commercial just felt too dramatic for what it was. But the Dunstan's, okay, I'm into some weird shit as far as kinkiness goes, but even I gotta admit that's not.
So are you?
Yes. Have you seen my DVR accounts? Anyways, but
that was our.
Have you seen the Crimson Weirdo?
I enjoy centaur women. Ooh. Anyways, that old joke. But no, that Dunstan Checks In commercial. It's like, holy, talk about inappropriate for a kids film. It's like you have what I assume is Lauren Bacall naked and giving horrible orgasmic noises while a monkey is slapping her butt, and even I was like too much, guys, too much, and it's like it really reminds you just how politically incorrect / stupid the 90s was.
Yeah.
So with that on that note, Brayton, what is your quick review of Dunstan Checks In?
Well, you ever have those movies that what is it? No, I don't want to say you have vivid recollection of, but it seems almost like you hear about people having memories or dreams about, oh, this was me in a past life. I just had a weird dream or a flashback to a moment I must have lived in my past life. Mm-hmm. That's how it felt with Dunstan Checks In Forever, because it was like a vivid, weird, estranged memory that I had of seeing that movie from my childhood. And I had watched it, I wouldn't say a lot, but I watched it kind of frequently when I was a little kid and, watching dumb stuff when you're like 6 or 7 occupying time.
Like the back half of fucking why am I blanking out on his name now? The guy behind Land Before Time and
Don Bluth.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh my!
I had a brain fart. But yeah,
did you watch The Pebble and the Penguin when you were a kid?
Yes. Here's the thing.
I saw The Pebble and the Penguin. I saw Thumbelina. I saw Rockadoodle.
Yep.
I saw all that dumb shit because my parents just got all the VHS copies of any animated movie they could get.
Yeah. There were 4 movies in particular that came around that I circulated when I was for a year straight when I was a dumb little kid. Mm-hmm. And it was Pebble and the Penguin, Rockadoodle, Dunstan Checks In, and The Page Master. The Page Master is probably the best of the bunch. Mm-hmm. But Dunstan Checks In, that was like a weird, estranged memory from infancy that I had. And I went back and revisited it last year. And
under duress.
No, under my own free will. That's the sad part.
Right.
And it's not good at all, but it's definitely meant to entertain the lowest of the lowest common denominator of children. Hence
the creepy massage sex bit.
That's just one joke in the movie. Okay. That's one joke in the movie they put in a crappy 90s movie trailer. All kids movie trailers from the 90s were cut from the same cloth of, ooh, shenanigans! They play unfitting James Bond music in the background as this silly little animal trounces around that. You ever see those Beethoven movies? It's basically the same trailers for those.
Oh man, Beethoven! God, so many suppressed memories are being brought up tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Let's not get started on Air Bud.
A dog can't play basketball. Nothing in the rule book says he can't. Then I call this orca to play on our basketball team. Airbud versus Free Willy.
For the longest time, I was wondering where what was the name of that like sports of that chimpanzee sports series, and I found it. It's called Airbud Entertainment presents MVP, Most Valuable Primate.
Oh, get it? It's a pun. Zing.
Most valuable pun.
Oh. Quick.
And then there's the first one is, I guess it's about hockey, and the second one, the chimp, is skateboarding, and it's called MVP 2, Most Vertical Primate.
So, anyways, Win is in the chat. Then
the third movie, the chimpanzee is snowboarding, and it's called MXP, Most Extreme Primate.
Thank God we have the Gamera movies as a sample of how to do kids' entertainment, kind of right.
No, Gamera's the precursor. Gamera's the precursor to Dunstan Checks In. Gamera's the precursor to the Most Valuable Primate.
This summer, Zigra and Gamera open a hotel. Hilarity.
He's the prototype.
Zigra, stop eating the guests. I can't help it. All right, quick shout out to our friend Win, who is in the chats. She's basically said, finished watching our Mystery Science Theater fan episode earlier. Hilarious as always. And she also follows up with lovely mental pictures after I probably went on my rant about that McDonald's commercial and then was reminded of the horror Dustin Checks In.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We need to have a sketch in the third episode where Helmet just eats a hamburger like that Andy Warhol short film. He eats an entire McDonald's lunch.
Let's not go that far.
That would amuse me.
Right. Go on.
If we ever bring back, like after we finish Gamera Super Monster and we ever decide to bring this thing back, we gotta do it as an April Fool's thing where it's gonna be Helmet, Crow, and Servo watching Empire.
Oh my God! Hey, look at that! It's a building. What the fuck else can we say?
Oh God!
That'd be a fucking challenge to riff. Just one
goodness.
static shot.
No, of course it would work better as a short film as opposed to a whole episode because I don't even think we could handle that.
No, it's obviously.
I know.
We did have April Fool's jokes in mind for the past thing. The first thing we wanted to do was I wanted to do a spoof thing of after we're done with Gamera versus or MST3K versus Gamera, we're gonna do MST3K versus Godzilla round 2, and we have basically the same little teaser for it. But midway through the teaser, it comes up with this video has been blocked by Toho and her Toho company Ltd on copyright grounds. And then we wanted to do like a fake documentary thing. But if we were to do Empire, that would be hell on earth. But were you gonna say something, Raf, when we were on the topic of bad monkey movies?
Actually, getting back to what we were originally talking about, the commercials. Yeah, you did a really good job picking a lot of commercials that tie in with everything, including the disturbing punchline / McDonald's psychodrama. But I have to ask, the only one I didn't get personally, I probably missed the point, was and it's a good commercial. It's actually my favorite commercial of the whole bunch, even though it's so simple, but it's largely because of the guy who's in it. How does the John Cleese Magnavox commercial tie into the movie?
Because the minutes before that, we were making the Monty Python jokes. That's all.
Okay, I see what you're doing. So, okay then, because I don't remember them looking at a high-tech TV in the movies or something.
No.
Yeah, but
now if only you made found like a Ninja Turtles commercial after I made my Turtles reference.
Oh yeah, I had the Ninja Turtles drug PSA in there later with the after Gamera gets stuck with heroin. I felt it was necessary for them to show up. But
that was probably like the most ineffective dealing with a drug dealer commercial I've ever seen.
You're a turkey, Raf.
Right.
I'm not a chicken. You're a turkey. Slams locker door.
Just have a bite
up.
of this brownie. Nothing bad's gonna happen, Brayson, my friend.
I don't deal with turkeys, Raf.
A
turkey killed my parents in the back alley behind a porno theater when I was a child.
Wait a minute. So many questions.
Where I was watching Dunstan Checks In when I was 6 years old.
Well, considering the Lauren Bacall cameo, yeah, that's practically a porno theater right there. Poor Lauren Bacall. She deserved better than orangutan massage.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to have a short, sweet little commercial there, and since we're making Monty Python references, I figured why not. I wanted to have it as short as possible so that we could cut from Andres going damn to have him still going am when we returned from commercial break. No, yeah, I like the idea of having commercials tie into something in the episode. Because the my favorite commercial from the first one was the Camp Nipper Sink thing. So having that.
Yeah, nothing but love for those ridiculous children pretending to be ducks in the rain.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So now,
actually, if I was really good at editing, I would have green screened Tom Servo in there too, going quack quack waddle waddle away from McDonald's. I'm having fun at camp now. Fuck you, Gamera. But anyway.
And Win just mentioned, this bird is no more. It has ceased to be. If his feet weren't nailed down, he'd be pushing up daisies. Monty Python, why not? So
yeah.
Now this during the writing, now we went over this film several times with the commentary and doing the live improv that we usually do, but we brought in a new person this time, our friend Will. Did a lot of his jokes make it in the end? Because I know we kind of had some contention about the majority of the jokes.
Well, yeah, a lot of everybody's jokes made it in. I would have to go back and listen to the individual commentaries we did too, because I've completely lost, with a couple exceptions like the watermelon man thing and the damn joke and again just some of the random stuff people came up with. I've kind of lost by this point who came up with what, because I've spent so much time just editing everything together. But I do have the original all of our original recordings of our commentaries still saved, which I might post at some point as like, hey, here was the rough draft version of this particular scene or whatever, and show like the different versions of our commentaries and like different jokes we came up with for each scene. But no, yeah, it was nice having Will in there again, having variety with our different viewings of it, and that was a lot of fun having everybody together and doing it different times. And I think we came up with like different jokes each time we did it. Like nothing was really similar. So we were so that turned out well, I thought.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, do you think it was a little... This is kind of a minor question going on, but I love that you kept a lot of the weird, obscure references we all made. And, of course, that's one of the things I always loved about Mystery Science Theater is, like, if you didn't get the joke, you'll get it eventually. When you discover the references on your own. But isn't it kind of weird that you kept in the Return of Oz reference and then saw Return of Oz, like, days after we were done making this episode?
Yeah, that was a lot. Yeah, well, I've told you before I was aware of the movie. I had just never seen the full thing and through. But yeah, that I'm glad I understand that reference now. Because I thought it was just you doing a goofy voice, and I was like, because that's another joke from yours that I can remember that you specifically threw in there. Yeah, I didn't really know what it was precisely from. I had an idea, and then you told me it was from that. So we watched it, and yeah, that's a weird movie. And I'm happy that we have a lot more obscure references this time around than in the first one. So if there's anything I'm proud of from a riffing perspective, it's that we have variety. Because while we have some of the occasional butt joke at the expense of get it up in the ass, then we have the
he said
this
air.
Piggy.
I heard ass.
She's got a thick accent. That's all. And then we have the Miss Piggy voices, of course. We also have references to William Burroughs and the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and freaking Train Spotting in there. So yeah, we have a lot of variety.
Right, and not only that, but like tons of kaiju jokes. Like, you know, all of us.
I know. I knew you were happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised my Ellison Hayes joke ended up in there, but then again, she technically guest starred on Mystery Science Theater trying to teleport poor Mike Nelson to death. So.
Well, I'm glad I'm glad with the variety. I'm happy with the variety of weird callbacks and references we have in there that will leave people scratching their heads, hopefully, from time to time.
As it should.
Yeah, Alan. We have in the course of our commentary, we have a reference to Allison Hayes. We have a reference to Watermelon Man. We have a reference to The Return of Oz. Mm-hmm. We have an Ultraman reference in there. Mm-hmm. We've got Bob Bag of Donuts, which I'm glad somebody in the comments caught on to.
Yeah,
is very obscure. That's a very obscure reference to a thing. Kevin Murphy, who plays Tom Servo on the original show, of course, did a character on the KTMA channel before Mystery Science Theater was even a thing. Like he was a goofy newsman like type character,
right?
Or an investigative reporter. So yeah, I'm glad we had a call back to that, and having Tom Servo deliver the line seemed appropriate. So yeah, we were. I think we handled ourselves pretty well on that front.
Yeah, no, we did really good. So, with that said, earlier before we started this live stream, one of my concerns was that this particular episode was a little more blue or a little more naughty than our previous episode. But now thinking about it, I think the joke works beautifully, where it's this little battle of minds between Helmet and Tom Servo, just being like, what's with all the butt jokes?
This lanky, gawky 20-year-old and this diminutive puppet arguing back and forth over whether or not she said ass is my favorite little moment there.
Oh, God. And, of course, the silhouette play with just, like, this large person looking at this little puppet with disappointment.
Yeah, I wanted to have more interaction in the theater itself between... And I think that helped a lot with us recording ourselves while we were watching it. Mm-hmm. So, like, our natural reactions either to the movie or to each other's jokes, it seemed more like organic, like an organic kind of watching experience rather than all of us just sort of reading off the lines.
Right.
So, yeah, having us have our little arguments there and having interaction between Helmet and Crow and Tom, I think made it seem a little more less vapid, I guess, in the theater.
Right. So, with that said, though, do you feel that our Tom Servo is a much more he's more Crow than Tom Servo in the sense
it's Andre?
Yeah,
basically that's all it is. Andres and Android are just playing themselves. They're just voices to the robots.
Because I had a bit of a headcanon theory that because
oh God, here we go.
No, don't worry. It's nothing. Then Miss Blue and Jack Oxen appeared out of a wormhole and killed.
And then Queen Norlina, the oversex, came in on a flying tricycle.
And Boo was there, driving.
Stop padding your lines. Stop padding your lines with your own mythos, Raf.
That's what happens when you let me do it the first time around. But anyways. Jokes aside, can Boo pilot Draco Azul in the future, Andres, or no?
What?
No, that's okay. That's a perfect answer to have in a situation like this. No. In my headcanon, obviously Joel was the father. Mike Nelson was one of the bros. I get the feeling that Helmet is the passive babysitter that our little robot friends think they can get away with all sorts of murder.
Yeah,
because I don't think they particularly like from the interactions. It's like they don't really like. They like Helmet, but they treat him like
they don't get Helmet.
Yeah, they don't get Helmet. And yeah,
with Tom Servo questioning, what is it with this guy today? Well, Helmet's weird. Helmet's a weird, and again, I don't want to sound like pretentious, like, oh yes, we're exploring their characters after I just said that it's just us being goofy on camera. But yeah, the one thing I wanted to do something interesting I kind of wanted to do with Helmet was the perspective that he wasn't trapped like the other two fellows and Jonah were on the satellite. He volunteered willingly to go up there and is realizing quickly that he probably shouldn't have,
right,
and that he fell into his own trap. And so yeah, I wanted to think, okay, for a person to willingly want to go up into space away from all human contact and watch movies, there's probably got to be something a little wrong with him. So I kind of wanted to throw in there that Helmet has these weird little character quirks that Servo and Crow are even put off by.
Yes, Tom Servo, famously the owner of a massive underwear collection.
Right. Yes, and he's disturbed by Helmet's obsession with Dunstan Checks In and his pack rattiness. So yeah, I like. I'm happy that that's coming across to some people with the interaction between the host and the robots are at least somewhat kind of interesting.
Right. And moving on, I really love the idea that we incorporated some emails and letters into this episode. Do you want to elaborate on that a little more?
Yeah, I thought it would be a fun little throwback to the old series. I mean, nobody writes letters anymore, but we thought it'd be fun I thought it would be fun to have set up a little email specifically for emails to come in, and of course to play off of the comments section on our videos to sort of interpret those as, hey, Helmet set up the system where we're not going to get letters anymore, but we've now have an email, and we are now posting things on the interwebs for people to comment on. Mm-hmm. And I think having interaction with your audience is always a good thing, and especially with something like this where it's a fictionalized universe. Mm-hmm. I think it kind of makes it a little more fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got so many nice comments from people the first time around that I was just really put off guard by how nice everybody was. Mm-hmm. So I kind of wanted to acknowledge how cool we think you guys are out there.
Now, was it hard to pick out the email replies that were going to end up in the final episode, or were those the ones you definitely knew you were going to pick, no matter?
Yeah,
what?
I kind of had an idea. I wanted to go with a comment and an email, and then the person who runs Binding Polymer, who wrote the first article about our thing, mm-hmm. when before the first episode even came out, he sent when he found out that we had an email, he sent along a little joke picture that he said he drew with his left hand, not really looking at the page as he was drawing, of Helmet and Tom and Crow,
right.
and tried to mimic that sort of little kid drawing this from back in the 90s thing. Mm-hmm. And so I knew I wanted to have that in there because that's just too adorable.
Right. Is that our Fred picture?
That's our little viewer named Fred.
That's so nice. Yeah. I love the reaction. It's like, thanks, Fred, age 30.
Get some milk, Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, oh my God, if we were this good on the second episode, not to toot our own horns, but it's like I can't wait to see what we do with the third episode. Even though I'm not looking forward to the movie in question.
Oh yeah, the third episode is going to be great with Super Monster. Are you kidding me? Okay, so here's the thing. If people like what we put out, I don't want to rate like our episodes against each other and be all pretentious like that with which one I think is better.
This episode drowns in gold because it's so magnificent.
No, I'm definitely not. I just want to do what we find funny, and if it's fun, I just want to put it out there and hope other people think it's funny and like it. Mm-hmm. I'm happy though with the work that we've put out so far. And yeah, with Super Monster, it's our last Gamera movie, so we really have to bring our A game to it.
Right. So,
and
I don't want
hopefully it doesn't defeat us in the process.
Yeah, and I don't want to mention too much because we do have some surprises in mind. But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to the next episode. Like, I do not like the movie whatsoever, but I am definitely looking forward to the next episode and all the sketches and how. And also, I love that you put in that little ominous, threatening, sinister teaser. At the end.
To be concluded. Yeah.
Yes. With Kenichi.
Yeah.
This damn kid in his plane.
Yeah, the what is it? The kid in Super Monster. Oh my God. I like how our next episode, or at least what our plan is. Again, I'm not gonna give anything away, but it's kind of a ode to Gamera. Like, this is the last unriffed Mystery Science Theater unriffed style Gamera movie out there. It's Gamera Super Monster, and in a way, we're almost riffing all of the Gamera movies at once because of how much stock footage from every other movie is in there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be our send off to the Gamera character and to Gamera and the Mystery Science Theater's fan fiction universe in this case, and I think it'll be fun, and hopefully it'll be satisfying.
Yeah, and I do have to say thank you so much for bringing me onto this project, all you guys, because I'm a huge fan of Gamera, and to be doing this it's as much as giving back to the love of Mystery Science Theater and indulging in our own comedy, quirkiness, original characters, and just humor completely, as well as adding to the Gamera mythos. So even unofficially, but still.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love that we've turned Gamera into his own character with a recurring gag that he's like this bitter aging actor who has to deal with all these. He's like the WC.
Everywhere I go, this stupid song follows me.
Yeah. Hey kids, get back! Remember me, Gamera? I used to be Kenny. Age
has not been kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the thing that Andre said. I know he came up with when Gamera's just wallowing in his own self-pity as he traunces through the city of all the children that I saved. Why did I waste my life on such a futile effort?
I know. It's like I love Godzilla, but Gamera has more of like a sillier character you can play around comedy-wise. And it's just I know Godzilla's cool and everything, but he's like Godzilla's Batman to Gamera's rubber booster gold.
No, I'm agreeing with you, Raf.
Okay.
The joke was it's obvious that he's infinitely more goofy.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Gamera's booster from Jingle All the Way. He's the big pink saber-toothed tiger that everybody hates. Nobody likes you, Booster.
Wow, that was a mean-spirited joke from an already mean-spirited movie.
In that case, we should have been doing our best Gilbert Gottfried impressions the whole time.
Oh God, Gamera voiced by Gilbert Gottfried. Could you imagine? Oh.
We'll keep it up tonight.
You're supposed to stick to the script. You know what? No one likes you anyways, Gamera. Takes them off the Christmas float.
Yeah.
All the kids are beating the shit out of poor Gamera.
All the Kennys in their little baseball caps stomping a mud hole in Gamera in the middle of a parade.
But
that's how it's gonna end.
Yeah, but with that said, I love that just the character we came up with, Gamera, and was that continued from the original Mystery Science Theater, or is that just our basic perception of poor Gamera in these movies?
Well, I know. Again, the Mystery Science Theater, as I mentioned, my favorite show. The Gamera episodes are probably my most watched episodes of that show. Mm-hmm. I always enjoyed how they kind of projected their thoughts onto the monsters within the show and in the movies. So I kind of wanted to carry that along, but I think the bitter actor part of it, of him being very aware of that he's just getting screwed over with each movie. I think that's something we're bringing to it.
Yeah,
and we're projecting onto poor Gamera.
Yeah, I love he has like so far the best ending bits of all, like first off there was like, hey kids, get pens, and then this one we had, it's like
how many more movies do I have in my contract? 2 more. Yeah, both of those things are things that Andrew came up with.
Yeah. Good on Andrew. I think. Yeah. It feels like Andrew did most of the Gamera humor as far as his character is concerned.
And Andrew is very in tune mentally with Gamera. They have a psychic connection, so he can get inside that character's head.
That explains that weird little thing he wears around his neck, and it's like every time Gamera bleeds,
his little earrings buzz, and his little
and then Andrew every time Gamera gets hit on screen, Andrew bleeds green blood. It's so weird.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
When is Andrew Steven Seagal's daughter?
I don't know, but I'm getting weird feelings.
Oh my God. But no, yeah, our characterization, if you even want to call it a characterization of Gamera, putting words in his giant saber-toothed mouth, it's been fun. I just, one of my favorite jokes is another one that I know for sure Andres came up with because we just used the raw recording of our riffing of it, or our initial commentary on it was, just the sadness of seeing Gamera hit by the laser in the final fight, and his reaction being, "Why aren't I turning into a skeleton like those other guys? This makes no sense."
Gamera questioning the logic of his own movies.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my God! Oh my Godzilla.
Yep.
So with that says, we've already been like 2 hours. Do you have any closing thoughts you want to do, or you want to keep this going a little longer?
I think we've covered about all that we need to about it. The only other thing I can really say about what's to come is if you've liked our last two, and you've been one of the many people who have I can't put into words because I'm still processing how wonderfully grateful I am for all the outpour of just unabashed kindness from people that we've been getting on our previous episodes. Like Brandon Tenold, he tweeted out both of our episodes on his Twitter. And I've gained like 49 subscribers in the last 2 weeks. Or
nice.
1 week, because I was looking at my channel analytics earlier because I noticed it was going up, and I'm like, hey, that must have helped some. Yeah, it's been pretty crazy just how nice everybody's been. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a breath of fresh air dealing with nice people in fandoms as opposed to everybody else in every other fandom.
Cough, G-Fest, cough.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I think I'm becoming less of a Godzilla fan every day I think about it. So.
And the thing in very recent news, we can touch on it very briefly because it's kind of tangentially related with Netflix not picking up a third season of the Mystery Science Theater revival.
Mm-hmm. Do you think this is a case of Netflix choosing to end things for their own reasons, or do you think it's a case of not many people are tuning in, so why bother?
I think it's a combination of both, in my opinion. It's a combination of both, but because, Brayton is obviously...
Because in the past, we've had several instances of Netflix canceling already popular shows, like the one that comes to mind is like Daredevil, how it was canceled after season 3 was such a huge success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that also
I honestly
go on.
I honestly don't think Netflix was really eager to be involved directly with Mystery Science Theater, because you got to remember a lot of the reason the first season of the revival came to be was because of the Kickstarter. Like, fans already funded like 14 episodes of a new season before, when it was just up on Kickstarter, and they were still looking for a platform to put it on. So I think Netflix really just acted more of, you can bring your 14 episodes to us, because I think they were going to get made regardless regardless. I even think production may have started like before they had settled on Netflix.
Yeah, and plus
so
Shout
those
Factory
episodes
was
were
heavily, Shout Factory was heavily involved too. So if we didn't see on Netflix, I think we'd have gotten some DVD releases.
Yeah, so those episodes, at least for the first season, quote unquote, season 11, they were gonna get out there sooner or later on somewhere. With the second, I would even hesitate to call it a season. It's only 6 episodes. The half season that was the Gauntlet was Netflix trying to tailor Mystery Science Theater into their binge thing and making it a whole big the binge 6 movies. And that was Netflix trying to put their fingerprints all over it, and that
they're grubby, greasy, disgusting fingerprints.
Yeah, I have complicated thoughts on the revival as a whole, but I will say that I love the cast of the show, and I'm glad that so many people came out to support it. But the second when Netflix really started rearing its ugly head in there with the whole binging thing, it kind of sucked a little of the life out of it that was there to begin with, and it's kind of sad that I'm sure it'll end up somewhere else eventually, because Mystery Science Theater seems to be a show that just won't die in a good way. It's been canceled 3 times before. It got canceled at KTMA. It got canceled before they got it picked up by Comedy Channel, and then it got canceled by Comedy Central, and then again by Sci-Fi Channel. So it'll find another home somewhere.
Yeah, and
I've seen some tweets. I've seen some tweets from Jonah Ray that he wanted to. He was looking at Shudder. Maybe would be a nice place for it with Joe Bob Briggs. That'd be kind of a cool. Wouldn't that be an amazing crossover to have? You talk about ambitious crossovers. One between Joe Bob and Mystery Science Theater.
Would you want Joe Bob to actually show up on the show as a guest star?
Oh my god! If
sit in the theater with him.
Oh my god! If it ended, it would be a crime for if it ended up there for that not to happen, or something, or at least something. Even if it was like a weird promo that they did, like a crossing over, like a little commercial promo for something that Shudder was doing, it would be awesome. So I'm sure the show will pick back up again eventually and find a new home. They may have to think a little differently about their budgeting things, because they're not going to have Netflix backing or as big a Kickstarter backing probably if it gets ran up again. But I don't think it's the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, and not only that, but I don't know. You're right. Mystery Science Theater show that never really goes away. In fact, I think it got more popular when it was permanently canceled for all those years. Hence the reason it came back.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's like I have a Roku that my brother has that has a free streaming channel of nothing but Mystery Science Theater 24 hours a day. And it feels like an honest to good network because of how many freaking episodes there are.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like with the original show, it's kind of, it never goes away, and it's kind of left its mark already, to where if it wasn't picked up again, it's, and I'm talking about the show as in the original from the 89 to 99, it's inspired so many things, and it's spun off the original cast from the show, forming riff tracks and doing other projects. It's already kind of left its mark and inspired, forms of film commentary and different comedy across the internet. So even then, I don't think it'll die, because it'll always be like if anything, it would always be a time capsule or a precursor to a whole brand and style of humor that's come afterwards when it comes to talking about movies. So yeah, I look on the bright side of the situation, and that I've seen some people getting upset that it's been canceled, but and I get where they're coming from, but I don't think it's the end of the world as we know it.
I'm going to be optimistic like you are. My only real disappointment first off, I have mixed feelings about the whole Mystery Science Theater revival, but for the most part, I had mostly positive feelings towards season 11. Not so much with the Gauntlet, because that really did feel like Netflix just micromanaging everything to be all Netflixy. But with that said, I'm happy that it came back, that we had these 14 episodes, good and bad alike, warts and all. Some episodes were generally really good. I still like the Beast from Hollow Mountain. But you know, at the same time, after like the good job they did with that season 11, I really wanted to see what they would do improving upon that. Because let's face it, the first season of Mystery Science Theater was not, on Comedy Central at least, and also including the KTMA days, were not the best. But they improved greatly until you got to that great season 3 of Mystery Science Theater, where I think that's where all the Gamera episodes came in. Or was that the second season?
No, that was season 3. Yeah, that was the
okay.
That was the Sandy Frank season, as I call it.
Sandy Frank.
Yeah.
But no, I really wanted to see how they would improve their game going forward. Especially after how disappointing the Gauntlet was. Now, granted, I really did like Mac and Me. Even Wynn agreed she did not like the Gauntlet whatsoever. But I thought the Mac and Me was a good episode. But then again, it's like everything else was, the movie choices were in complete bore, and the heavy editing of movies was apparent. And it was just like, I think one episode was even 78 minutes long, and that was a record for Mystery Science Theater.
It's unfortunate because unlike you, I have a lot of issues with the revival, the reboot, whatever you want to call it. But again, one thing I will say is I love the people involved with it. I think Jonah is great. I think Hampton, who plays Crow, is hilarious. I think Patton Oswalt, obviously, everybody loves Patton Oswalt, and he's great. And it's sad that if this is the end of that incarnation of the show, they didn't get to grow into their parts and into their roles more.
Yeah, Third Time the Charm, I think, would have worked beautifully with this series. So that's my only real disappointment. But like you said, it's not really gone. It's still going to be there.
No one's ever really gone, Ralph.
You scum!
Yeah.
Crankor. Oh, Crankors.
Yeah.
And not only that, but we have riff tracks, which is still very fun and great. And I think our little fan trilogy is going to be a nice little taste to keep a lot of people happy. And I know we've had some requests in the comments to do another 3 and just make it a proper season. But I think once we're on this trilogy, I think we'll be very proud of what we've accomplished here. And I'm happy. Gamera, Mystery Science Theater, and us just being our silly, goofy selves. It's great. So.
Yeah.
So. What about you, Andres? What do you have to say about Mystery Science Theater going bye-bye?
I think it stinks.
There you have it. It stinks.
No, only because of my busy schedule, I haven't been able to watch anything of Mystery Science Theater outside of the 1 or 2 episodes I saw with Raf.
Yeah.
We saw, what was it, the Beast of Hollow Mountain, and it was good from what I saw. And now that I think about it, it's possible that the reason why Netflix chose not to renew this is maybe not due to low attendance or low ratings. Yeah. Maybe it's because Netflix just wants something that's naturally bingeable. And MST3K is not really a show that you binge through all that much, really.
Because each episode is a movie. Like, each episode is an hour and 30 minutes. It's feature length. So to binge an entire season of Mystery Science Theater is a freaking commitment. And it doesn't the format doesn't lend itself to I know recently, yesterday they had the Turkey Day marathon, which is kind of like they run episode to episode to episode.
I don't mean to be too dark, but was the Turkey Day marathon, was it just a pair of legs dangling from during those segments? I had to. I'm sorry. I had to.
It was a dry turkey, a sad Thanksgiving get together.
Right. The door opens Grandpa, we're here to get you. Oh, we're too late.
you see Joel packing everything up. The thought of not being with you is impossible to bear.
Pearl Forrester, Bobo, and Observer comes in. It's like, you can live.
We're going to take you to McDonald's every day, Joel.
Yeah, and have apple pie.
Man. No, I don't. I didn't get the chance to watch it yesterday, but I imagine it wasn't that. Okay. But anyway, the thing with binging, I don't think Netflix was too keen on it and I think that's the big part of the gauntlet. They wanted to make it that, and it just kind of failed miserably. And I don't think it was wholly theirs, and I think that was a part of it, that it wasn't a part of the Netflix brand, and it just didn't lend itself to being that. The show doesn't really assimilate into the streamy binging culture of that Netflix thrives on. Because you don't binge, a typical season of a show, 15 or so episodes. If the show is like 20 minutes long per episode, that's feasible if you have that time. But 20 movies in a row, it doesn't work with the format so well.
Yeah.
So I think if they moved over to something more, a little more niche like Shudder, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Or Disney Plus.
We've just completely sold out to Disney Plus, haven't we?
I want Tom Servo to be a Disney princess. Is that so wrong? That's all I want. I want. I think that's where the real bucks are at. Yeah, and Netflix is a weird sort of thing in the first place. It's the future, but it's kind of troubling. I don't know if is that whole thing about Netflix and Disney Plus. Are people still worried about Netflix not surviving with that?
I highly doubt it.
Because I've seen some videos.
I highly doubt it because I'm enjoying Disney Plus, but one of the big issues that people have with Disney Plus, I have to agree with, is it's not that good. Like, I know Disney has like thousands of different projects they've created over the years, but they all have a certain sameness to them and a lack of variety. It's like, whereas Netflix, even knowing a lot of their stuff is crap, Netflix still has a greater variety than Disney. It's like, I hate to say, like, not too long ago, after we were finished watching The Black Hole, which we both enjoyed immensely, me and Brayton, we decided to go through the library at Disney Plus, and it was just like 200 titles that were all just High School Musical ripoffs of one another, or these terrible Hannah Montana style TV movies. It's like, as opposed to Netflix, where you might stumble upon an interesting, quirky, obscure movie alongside a bunch of like terrible found footage horror movies that channel seems to be in abundance with. So I don't think Netflix is in too much danger. I think the biggest threat to Netflix is not Disney Plus, but Netflix itself, especially with its weird business dealings. And it's, it's like they're clearly cooking the book somewhere over at Netflix. And I think Netflix will end up, I would not be surprised if one day there's like, you go to watch Netflix and there's a big sign saying, "Oops, we screwed up. Bye-bye." And of course, as both Win and Andres have noted, they do have a habit of canceling popular shows in their third season, because it's the same mentality that network television has with kids shows or shows to be syndicated. You get 3 seasons, boom, you're done. Unless you're a mega hit like Stranger Things or I think She-Ra or Voltron was for a little while, you don't get that many seasons past 3. And not only that, but the whole thing with the Marvel shows, too, that was also connected to the whole Disney ordeal and its acquisition of Marvel and everything that happened then, for better and worse. But I don't think Disney Plus is going to be the destroyer of Netflix. I think the destroyer of Netflix will be Netflix. And unless Disney keeps creating some really unique original programming in the future, I don't think it can rely on its own extensive library, even knowing it is a good library for the most part. But it's like... Yeah, but at the same time, it's like for every Black Hole, Return of Oz, Beauty and the Beast, like High School Zombies, High School Musical, that's like, really? No. No. That's my opinion on it.
Wasn't it called High School Musical, the series?
Oh, yeah, that's happening
Oh,
too.
yeah, they're one of their new series things are about a high school a group of high school students trying to put on a High School Musical at their high school as a musical.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I'm just having Glee flashbacks because I might have to watch that because you don't understand, Raf. When you talk about hate watching Gotham and being in the foxhole with Gotham, that was my journey with Glee. I was in the shit, and I was determined to see that series to its bitter death.
Yeah, I did, no. My reaction towards Gotham was very similar to you with Glee. It's like you hate watch it. You love it, but you hate yourself for watching it.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing, Glee was just such a frustrating show because there were moments of just pure like really great storytelling on television, and then they do the worst thing of doubling back on it, and now they're pregnant, or forget what just happened two scenes ago.
Wait a minute. There was a whole series. You mean Glee had every character, both male and female, suddenly get pregnant? Actually,
you know what? Honestly, there were. I'm thinking, and if I remember correctly, yes, almost everybody gets pregnant on that. Everyone who was introduced gets pregnant on that show at one point or another. I think Mercedes, the African American girl, is the one who I don't think she has a bun in the oven by the end of it, but everybody else, yeah. Even Jane Lynch, she gets pregnant.
Oh my
what?
God.
Yeah, she has a baby.
Oh my
it's pretty
God.
nuts.
No,
okay, so insanity in Gotham is similar to pregnancy in Glee. It just happens for the sake of happening.
Yeah.
But,
did the first season start off with the main teacher's wife faking a pregnancy?
She faked a pregnancy, and then the cheerleader chick, I think she may have had an abortion, and then later she got pregnant and had the baby. Or no, she had the baby. She was gonna get an abortion, but she had the baby, and then Jane Lynch, and then
father was.
Yeah, and her parents, she got kicked out of her parents who were like super religious, and then Jane Lynch had the baby, and then who else was next? Who was next on the chopping block?
Thank God I dropped off that show after like 1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah. Oh God, the first 2 seasons were the best. That's the sad part.
Oh, thank God then, because it's like I like the idea of a more cynical version of High School Musical that. Yeah. Just like we're like underdog stories, and then it's like I think maybe I saw the first episode of season 3, and already like you mentioned, that sort of backtracking, like these characters are together. Well, not anymore. It's like fuck you.
Yeah, and all of them were skiing over sharks. What was that about?
And like I don't want to turn this into a Glee podcast, but I gotta get this out because I'm not gonna have any other opportunities to, unless I do a Glee stream on my own channel. But with this Autops Glee, an Autops Glee.
Oh, okay, I get it. That was a good pun.
With Jane Lynch's character, her Sue Sylvester, the mean coach lady, she has this. It's set up from the first episode that her and the music teacher Will Schuster, they have like this really heavy rivalry.
Right.
And it's really entertaining at points, and she is brilliant as this character. Jane Lynch,
right.
But there comes a point, like I believe it's in the 3rd season, at the end of the 3rd season, where Jane Lynch's sister passes away, and then Will and the Glee Club like set up a really nice funeral service for her sister, and like her Will and Jane Lynch's character Sue, they finally look like they're going to mend the hatch because he went out of his way to do this truly kind thing for her. And then they immediately double down on it in the next season. I think one of the best summaries of it is the reviewer said that Glee has like 4 or 5 really great writers. Now, if only we could all get them in the same room together and they could write a television show, that would be awesome.
Yeah, not only that, but it also feels that sounds what you just mentioned. The same problem with a lot of television before streaming, and they were just way too damn episodic. Like major revelations are done, character progression is done, but then everything's returned to the status quo in the next episode.
Yeah, because we need a series, so we don't know how to make this grow into something different organically. So we're just gonna.
Yeah, exactly, and unlike like with some science fiction programs, you can get away with it because you have, a whole new adventure every episode. But at the same time, this is like a very small bottleneck series, and it really feels more obvious. It's like that's one of the reasons I got out of television. Period, is because it was just for every 2 steps forward, they took 80 steps back, or it took like 3 seasons to get from point A to point A and 3/4. So as far, and I know everything doesn't need to have a progression to a final battle or final conflict, but some form of progression, some form of intelligent awareness of the continuity that came in previous episodes is always welcomed. So it's sort of like the problem I have with poorly written Doctor Who. It's like, how many times have the Doctor met vampires for the first time? 8. I've never met vampires before. Next season, vampires? I never met vampires before. So it sounds something similar to that. Has there ever been a
wacky creature that he hasn't met, Raf?
Oh God, he's met all
mermaids. Has he met mermaids?
No, not really. Oh, wait a minute. He went to Atlantis, and it had a mix of normal people and fish people, so that's close to mermaids. And there was an episode where him and some regular pirates from like the 1700s were menaced by a siren, but the siren turned out to be an intelligent hologram woman who ended up joining the crew, and she was kind of like a mermaid, but it was more of a Damn it! This podcast will be nothing but Glee and Doctor Who.
Those will be our next fan film series. We're gonna do a 12th season of Glee, and then I'm gonna play Tom Baker for a couple series, and then we'll.
How about this? How about we combine the two ideas? You play Jane.
Oh
Lynch,
my God! A Doctor Who Glee crossover,
and I'll be the Cybermen.
Oh Lord,
there is logic in this bitchy woman's ideals. You will be like one of us.
Are you still there, Andre?
Yes.
Okay. Before we continue, I just want to read some comments from Lynn. They're pretty hilarious. Well, first off, maybe Amazon can pick up Mystery Science Theater. They're pretty good at stuff there. Then she mentioned the season 3 curse. And then in our conversation about our hate watching for Gotham and Glee, she goes like, and this is very appropriate, it's like eating chicken McNuggets. You love the taste,
every day.
You hate yourself 2 hours later. And then finally she says, let's keep our fingers crossed that it stays the way. I'm loving the depth of a lot of the characters, both the shows. Oh, she's talking about She-Ra and Dragon Prince. Okay, but no, that's hilarious what she had to say. It's like eating McChicken nuggets. You love the taste, but you hate yourself 2 hours later.
Yeah.
That's how I felt watching Gotham, and I guess that's how much you felt watching Glee.
Yeah, I felt like I was on a mission just to see it through to its end, because I had to see how they wrapped it up. And then of course with the main character, God, what's his name? Finn on the show, Corey Monteith is the actor's name. Mm-hmm. I think he died of some kind of drug overdose, like midway through the show. And he was the main character, the main high school kid of the show.
Ouch.
Yeah, so they dealt with that tastefully, at least. It would have been horribly embarrassing if they had bungled that.
Right.
But yeah, it was. Oh my God, I was on a journey. Anyway, so yeah, for our final movie, we're not doing Gamera Super Monster. We're doing Glee, the concert movie.
Can we insert a bunch of scenes from random Doctor Who episodes just to spice it up a bit?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Let's just disappoint everybody all at once.
Yeah, we with your editing expertise, we can have Jane Lynch get killed by Daleks over and over again. I like Jane Lynch, but I don't know why. Just the image of her.
You think that's hard? Try getting killed by a Cyberman. That's hard.
She's so hard to kill.
Tin Man, you have no idea. Oh, we got a series here, Raf. I can do Jane Lynch. You do a Cyberman.
Excellent, Andres. Who would you want to play?
I look the part already. Apparently, according to some people, I resemble the homosexual woman, so I could do it.
Oh my goodness, Andres, you want to play the Master?
You want to play Andres can play. He's a robot. He can play a Cyberman or a Dalek or anything we need.
There is logic in his statement.
Oh my god!
He can be our canine. He just put him in a little dog costume.
Don't do that.
Roll
to
across
Andre.
the floor.
And then I'll get a spin-off. I'll get a spin-off that never even gets off the ground.
Oh, that's right. I thought that did get off the ground, but it was only like one season in Canada, of all places, or Australia.
Oh, I guess so. Then.
Oh my god, Australia, where science fiction shows go to die. Oh man, Ultraman, great, huh?
More like Ultraman.
More like Ultraman. Fake.
Yeah.
It looks fake. cut back to
More
back
like
to the original.
Ultraman. Bitch.
Oh, God. All right. Anyways, we should wrap this up. But no, getting back. Any final thoughts to the Mystery Science Theater Gamera debacle? That is us.
It was fun.
Yeah,
I'm glad you've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, again, I love Mystery Science Theater. I like Gamera a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's really neat.
He's filled with
meat.
Yes.
And he's filled with meat. He was filled with meat and career loathing, self-loathing. I'm glad that we finally got it off the ground, unlike Australian canine shows. I'm glad we've got two or three episodes that we're almost done with this fucking turtle already.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty remarkable.
It's also kind of funny how people really want us to do more, and it's like, ooh.
Well, here's the thing. After Super Monster, if we still want to do more, I don't want to do it for longer than necessary. Doing three, I'm perfectly happy with. If we do a couple more after that, that'll be an if thing, and we'll try to make those as best as possible. I want there to be. I don't want to have a long game plan in this. I want us to do a handful of these things, have them be the best we can make them. Because it isn't a fan series. We're not getting anything from this other than hey, here's this thing we like.
Right, almost nothing can be gained out of fan projects.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's literally just a fun little project that we're doing just to amuse ourselves and show our love for this thing we love. Mm-hmm. And that's about it. We're not looking to make a career out of it by any stretch of the imagination. So if we do a couple more, it'll be only a couple more, and then I'll kill Helmet off so there can never be another one.
Or he gets hit by a sex ray, and we'll have to get your sister to play you.
Oh my God! Don't drag my sister into this.
Your mom.
Oh, no,
Jane Lynch.
Jane Lynch. Yeah, okay. I'll send the props to Jane Lynch, and if you want more fan films, she'll make more fan episodes for you.
Right. And then she agrees to it, but then when we watch the final episodes, it's like, this Jane Lynch looks suspiciously like Brayden.
Oh my God. You're not Jane Lynch. You're Old Man Connor. Oh.
I would have
gotten away with it too. No, yeah, I've seen some comments on our recent episode about wanting us to do more, and again, I'm open to the idea of doing a couple more if we can find an interesting way to do them. And I mean, we've got plenty of movies on the back burner that would be great for a commentary, a funny commentary. But yeah, it'll just if anything more comes of it, it'll just be a couple more, and then we'll put it to bed and look back with fond memories and tears about all the time we wasted on this giant turtle.
He deserves it. He wasted our time, so we'll waste it back.
Yeah. Well, we're paying it forward. We're paying the procrastination forward.
Right. It's knowing our luck, we're going to end up in the third Gulala movie. Special guest stars.
Oh God.
Oh my God. So
Wait, there's a second. Oh yeah, there is a second.
yeah. Wind follows that up with like dun dun dun. Okay, so any final thoughts before we end this turkey? This Thanksgiving turkey leftovers.
Yeah, happy
For
Thanksgiving,
you guys.
happy Thanksgiving, America,
Yeah.
and happy Black Friday, America. It's now 1:00 where I am, so it's no longer Black Friday. But I hope you all didn't beat each other up on this glorious day, and I hope you got a bunch of deals with your little cards that you're taking. Do people even do that anymore? Is Black Friday still like a really big?
I don't
Go
think
out and shop the day.
I mean, in this economy, I bet.
Yeah, it's still a major thing, but thanks to the prevalence of online shopping, it's not as insane as it used to be. Although from what you still got a lot of rude people and mad dashes early in the morning. But from what my brother and other friends who work on Black Friday say, it usually ends after the first 2 hours. And again, everyone's going online now to shop, which is
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, how much does that play into it? I'm wondering.
Yeah, it's like why deal with crazy people armed with mace and pointy sticks
I know.
when you can just order it offline.
Yeah,
So
from the comfort of my own wheelie chair.
yeah, and then just ask a loved one to come in and hit you with mace or pointy sticks.
It is the holidays. It's the most wonderful time of the.
My
Oh God!
What have
Cops!
you
Call the
done?
cops! Call the cops!
My leg!
My leg is completely connected to my eye. If my eye goes, my leg goes. Ah!
Ah!
Okay.
This is
think
the
you
worst Christmas ever.
There.
Yeah. Oh God, Christmas. I do not look forward to it. So, as Wynn noted, it's become less crazy. But any last words, Andres? Go on.
You can look forward to Audio Synchronicity tomorrow. We're doing Audio Synchronicity.
Hey, excellent. I won't be there, but I'll be there in spirit.
Nope, you're not. Well, you're banished after your previous incident with the turkey, Raf.
Hey, I just wanted us to all convert to communism. Oh, the turkey. Yeah, I overdid it with the turkey. Never mind.
The communist turkey.
Yeah.
You start drawing Rule 34 images of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do not find that. No, we were doing so well before you brought up the sex jokes. Damn it, Andres! You and your
Gobble Stalin.
You and your love for centaur women and what you and oh God, and those horrible techno slime girl comics you write. You're a sick man. You know that.
Can I just ask something? What the hell is a techno slime girl?
That's another
You
comment.
don't know.
Yeah, that you don't want to know. Not now. We're trying to end this on a happy. No, I'm not gonna read that.
No, yeah,
man.
we're anyway.
Basically.
Oh, okay.
Do you know Flubber, Brain? Do you remember Flubber?
Okay, let's just end this on a high note. Okay.
So people have a thing for Flubber.
In anthropomorphic girl form, slime girls, literal slime.
There
girls.
you did.
Yeah.
How you went there?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. That was my Robin Williams laugh.
Right.
Flubber, that's on Disney Plus.
We're not
they
watching
have some
that.
variety. Yep. But no, yeah, we're doing Audio Synchronicity tomorrow. So tune in over on KaijuNoir's channel.
Okay. Is there anything
cool.
particularly special going on, or are you guys just going to chew the fat for Thanksgiving?
Well, tomorrow we're talking about Kappa, right? The Triphibian monster.
Oh, Kappa.
Yes, we're talking about Kappa, the Triphibian monster.
Wait, are you talking about the YouTube thing or Gappa, the Triphibian monster?
What do you think,
We'll
Ralph?
let you decide. We'll leave that open to. We'll leave people on a cliffhanger of which one we're going to talk about.
I don't know.
Use your common sense.
I think you're going to do Gappa. I don't know. It's just easier to do, and it's a little more.
Why the fuck do we want to talk about Gappa?
To annoy Andrew.
Happy, joy,
His
happy.
feelings
Joy.
towards that movie is my feelings towards Gamera Super Monster. It's insane.
Oh, that's nice. But no, anyway, we're probably talking about the child. What is it? Child Protection Agency. What's it? What's the acronym?
The Child Online Protection and Privacy Act.
Ugh.
That's it. We're talking about that tomorrow,
a good thing,
and then
it's a good thing you don't have me on that show then.
and then we're also doing midway in December before Andres comes back to Come into America. before he comes back to America. We're doing our second annual.
To America.
We're doing our second annual Audio Synchronicity Christmas special. Yes, with me, and Andres will be there, and Raf, if he's been a good boy this year, maybe will be there.
I'll do my
and
best.
And it'll be nice. We may just find another crappy Christmas themed thing to commentate over and do another Christmas commentary. Who knows? We might get crazy. We might go nuts. We might lose all of our marbles. Who knows? Raf, don't drink the eggnog. Don't bring eggnog to our Christmas party.
Too late. I love eggnog. Oh, yes. And I added some extra stuff to it. Ooh, yes. Seriously, I do love eggnog. It's like...
But that's what I have to promote.
Right.
Watch our Jiger episode and tune into Audio Synchronicity tomorrow. Yay.
Yep. And buy my comic if you haven't already.
Oh yeah, that too.
Buy my comic. Buy my comic. It's worth it, but still, buy my comic. Okay, so, and I got nothing really to say, but next week I am planning on doing a live stream of consciousness with our good friend Win and probably Brayton and Earthbear Andres, if you want to join, go ahead. The winning combination of, well, relatively speaking. And
my only friends.
Win asks, will the ghost of Paul Lynn return? No.
Wait, what ghost of Paul Lynn?
All right, so thank you very much, everybody, for joining us tonight.
I'm totally in the dark.
And we'll definitely talk to you guys later. Thank you for joining us for this Mystery Science Theater, and hope you enjoyed any future listeners. So I'm going to end this with Extreme Prejudice now.
Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
folks. Oh,
Right.
Paul Lynn, I'm a big fan.
push the button, Raf.
Damn it, you took my line.
Sorry. I'm trying to get to it. Oh.
Push
There
the
we go.
button, Raf. The button's broken.
Pull the string!
I live
Pull the
to serve.
string!
I live to serve, my liege.